Letterbox has really like gotten ad like I don't know if you are like have like the pro or whatnot, but it's gotten fucking ad heavy. It is
I
fucking
do have
atrocious.
Pro. I don't think there's as many ads on there. Is
Yeah,
there?
Yeah.
I don't have Pro. I'm with you because I was like, why?
I had pro and pro is really cool, but I couldn't justify spending that much after like a year of having it.
I
Yeah.
don't
But
think
then
I could. Yeah, I didn't feel like I could justify that ever. I was just like, I looked at the price and I was like, nah, dog.
Yes, it is cool. There's a lot of cool perks to it, but I just at this point I don't need it. But
I already got tricked into getting Peacock this year. I don't
Ew.
need.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's a bad idea.
a
It's because
problem.
the world was burning and I mistakenly wanted to see Halloween Kills.
Ew.
So I was
Oh.
like,
Oh
I'll
my
just get a free
god.
trial. It'll be fine. I'll cancel it.
Did you cancel it on time?
No, of
What
course
the
I didn't. I
fuck?
still haven't canceled. I don't know. This is how they get me. Once like I'm in, I'm just in.
Yeah. All right. You're just gonna pay for it forever.
Yeah, pretty much until, our society collapses on itself and then I'll probably rethink Peacock. But
Okay.
Dude, I love this setup. This setup's
You
sick.
like it? Okay.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like the list being in the middle of the screen. I feel like that's the way it
Yeah.
should always should have been.
No, every time we do this and we do like either it's digital or in person, I always like your setup for it.
Thanks, man.
Oh, I didn't fucking watch Fast 9. Fuck.
Oh, you missed
Fast
out.
9,
It's
the
an
Furious
obvious
Saga.
obvious top 10 for all three of us.
I knew I was missing a movie, and I was like, "What fucking movie did I miss?" There was
I
that fucking
actually
movie.
hold off on this, Justin, because I actually want to address this on the podcast.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I just want to ask, I just want to have a conversation about what movies we hope to see that we didn't get a chance to see really quick.
Oh, yeah, I have a
Should
few things like
we
that too.
do that after our top 10, just so we don't reveal anything?
See, I was actually going to insist that we do just a few spoilers just to change things up, specifically of our movies that are outside of our top 10 and
Sure.
bottom 10, just like 3 to 5 of them, not very many, so we don't get but anyway,
Yeah.
Just like have
formally
a conversation about some ones that we liked, but they
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that. I'm
let's
here for that.
formally establish this shit. Welcome, one and all, to the stream or to the VOD afterward or whatever, to the 7th annual Third Act Podcast, year in review, best movies of the year, worst movies of the year. I'm Nick, also known as Nice. For anyone who doesn't know me, actor, musician, music streamer here on Twitch, and lately hardcore Halo addict. What about you two? What do you have to say for yourselves?
Matt, you want to go?
Sure. I'm Matt. If you have listened to this before, you know me. I work on movies for a living, and I'm just generally a little trash boy. I
don't know.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that this year I'm gonna have the most trash top 10. To be honest, that's kind of what I'm feeling.
Oh no, my top 10's goddamn fire. But
Oh really? Okay. I'm gonna have the most trash top 10 this year.
I mean, me too. I actually kind of want to talk. I actually want to kind of talk about it because I think honestly, let me say first. My name's Justin. I'm a filmmaker. I do a lot of movie making and a lot of gaming. Currently, Sea of Thieves addict and trapped in writer's block purgatory. So that's about where I'm at.
I'm now officially I'm a Grounded addict, which is a game that's in beta.
Oh yeah, you're still playing that, huh? Still digging it.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just
it's still in beta.
Or no, it's not still in beta, but it's still in early access. It's not. There's not even a game. There's not even a plot.
What the hell?
I'm into it. Let me just beat up ladybugs all day. I've also been playing Returnal, which is a fucking nightmare.
Oh, and wait, is it like
you would love it?
Yeah, it's really hard, but really good. That's what I've heard.
Wait, what is it called?
It's called Returnal. It's like a
Isn't-
PS5 exclusive where you basically play as
Oh.
Gwendolyn Christie trapped in space.
Oh,
Yeah.
different game. I'm thinking.
PS5 exclusive is not going to work for me, unfortunately.
I think it's one that they'll probably go on to release on the
Yeah.
PC.
That's kind of the vibe I've been getting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before we get into like
Yeah.
talking about other films, I just want to talk about 2021 as a year in film.
Please, let's do it.
Because I personally, and I know it's like we got the pandemic going on, we got a lot of other stuff in life happening. I just feel that personally, and I think it's a reflection of like how we feel about our list this year. Is I feel this year, and it's not, you know, the filmmakers' faults or studios' faults or any. It's just the nature of the beast right now. But I think this is probably one of the worst years in films in recent history. But and I think there's when the highs were high, they were huge bangers, like, you know, Spider-Man No Way Home and Godzilla vs. Kong, all that sorts. But like there were not a lot of standout films, I would say.
I
Like,
don't know if I agree. I would certainly say I think it's a better year than last year. I think last year was a steaming pile of dog shit.
I was able to find. I feel like none of these films would have been in my top 10 last year. My top 10 from last year would have kicked out all these films that are in my top 10. Like Promising Young Woman, what was the other ones? Mank, I liked a lot last year.
Yeah.
Soul was a banger last year.
What was?
Soul. Although I think some people were lukewarm on it, but I loved it.
Wait,
Where is
one
it?
more time you cut out.
Soul.
Oh, Disney Pixar
Assistant.
Soul.
I mean, you got The Assistant, The Invisible Man, Black Bear, Sound of Metal. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
know.
If we have anything like that for
I
this year.
feel pretty good about my list.
Okay.
It's an interesting list.
Okay.
And there's also certain things that were in very limited release last year that you two were able to catch that I was not. That we had a discussion last year that like transferred over to this year's list for me.
So like maybe like like Minari almost is an example.
Yeah, there's a few of them. A few of the Oscar contenders for this year weren't available to view to like the standard public until like January or February of last year.
That's fair.
So there's some things that are probably classified as this year for me that are not for you, but I think only 2 of my top 10 is in the distinction of things that were like in last year's Oscar season. I think sorry, 3 of my top 10.
Honestly, I think this is the B side of 2021.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
What do you mean?
Like, you know, like when an artist comes out with a banger album and that's the A side out, it's B side. Anyway,
You think it's a B-side?
I think it's a B side year.
I'm intrigued to get into it.
Well, Nick, you got anything to add to that?
For 2021 as a whole?
Well, yeah. How do you feel about it in film? Because you say your list isn't crazy, my list isn't crazy. Matt's list is like one of the best lists of all time, apparently.
No, I wouldn't say that, but it's something
Kidding.
that I'm definitely confident in, and I definitely would recommend any of the films that are on my top 10, and I'm happy with them.
Okay. I would say 2021 for me. It's funny. My top 10 is like 50% or a little bit less than 50% just kind of very straight, strong dramas, just very straightforward, to the point drama for drama's sake, and then the other half is just like all the action sci-fi schlock that I would normally put in a top 10 that had a year with some action sci-fi schlock. High quality action sci-fi schlock this year, I would say, though.
Yeah, how many films in your top 10 are just Evangelion 3?
Oh, we got to talk about it quite a few times, I think.
I'm here
Oh,
for
boy.
it.
Yeah.
How many films have we watched? All like how how we usually do. Like how many
yeah.
films total? 'Cause
Yeah,
I think
total.
I think I'm gonna be
I'm
quite
gonna go,
different this
I'm
year.
gonna go last.
Yeah, I think you should go last.
Okay. Total this year, I've got 76 entries.
I have 63.
Oh,
Oh no, I'm sorry. 64. 64.
Nice.
Coming in at a gentleman's 111.
Holy
That's good.
shit.
That's fucking high.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
It
Very
was
cool.
not necessary. It was a real bummer. I probably watched some absolute dog shit.
Let me find out what Shelby's final number is, because I know she was fairly high at the end.
I think she's like 130 something.
She's fucking nuts, man. Let me just
This
find it.
I will say the bads of this year are so rough that Dear Evan Hansen is not in the bottom 10 of my year.
Dude, my
Oh, yeah, I
bottom
didn't
10
see
list
that.
is fire.
Yeah, yeah. I feel a bit more. I'd say a bit more passionate and analytical about my bottom 10 this year than my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So just so you guys know, I'm dealing with the Discord shit in the background. So I might, if I have some awkward pauses, feel free to fill the airtime and move me along.
That's fair.
Trying to make
Do
sure
we
he
get-
doesn't like spend my fucking debit account on Discord boosts, basically.
Oh god.
That's fair.
Do what you gotta do. We understand.
Yeah. Do we get to see your beautiful face?
Not on Discord, unfortunately. It's on the stream, obviously, but I can't stream both at the same time.
Yeah. Will you send a
Yeah.
link to the stream?
Of
Sure.
course. All right, yeah.
Shelby is settled at 135. That's fucked. Hey, you can catch up though. She's only got one film in 2022 so far.
Perfect. I'll get there. Oh shit. I just saw the witch hunt. Okay. So why don't we, wild idea, take a little bit of time and talk about I don't know. Oh yeah, you want to do this after. You want to talk about the films that we wish we got around to after.
I think it would be good just so that we don't like reveal like what we didn't see, and that can be like a grander discussion, because you know how it is, like how long it takes us to get through our bottom and top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Oh fuck, I forgot there was an Addams Family 2 this year.
Fuck, I keep missing these movies.
Are
It's all
you
gonna
really
come back to me.
Are you really upset that you missed the second animated Addams Family? Oh boy. Hello.
That's a good one.
Special guests?
Yeah, somebody hopped in.
Oh, hey. It's one of my followers, Finian. What's up, bro?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so let's just I'll say okay, how about like just quick talking points if you saw any movies from 2020 that you like saw late. Two that I added to my list after we did our podcast last year that I actually ended up adding to my top 10 were One Night in Miami and Greenland. Greenland really, really caught me by surprise. I was just expecting it to be like, and a decent part of it is pretty, just schlocky, end of the world, cataclysmic event. But I think in terms of like what really is great about it is the procedural process of like what people are going to be saved and what people are not going to be saved in an apocalyptic level event, and it actually ends up coming across as like genuinely very pretty disturbing and pretty upsetting. So but yeah, also saw One Night in Miami, and I think it speaks for itself, historical American partial biopic of these four American icons in One Night in Miami, and it was beautiful. I think especially I forget his name. Leslie Odom Jr. who was Sam Cooke, I think, and he does there's one scene in particular where he does an a cappella vocal performance in front of a crowd, and I was actually genuinely moved to tears because of like the context of the power of his voice and his voice becoming like a cultural touchstone. So yeah, those were 2 movies from last year that I saw late that I ended up really, really loving.
So yeah, I did something a little bit different, and movies that I saw late or were in that gap window, like I certainly counted One Night in Miami as a 2021 film because it wasn't publicly released until like mid-January of 2021. So those are gonna be on, if they're in my top 10, they'll be on my top 10 for this year.
Um,
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Pause your accounts, Nick, for God's sake.
Oh
thanks,
no,
man.
Nick. At least this is content. Fuck.
Jesus Christ.
I guess in terms of like movies that like from 2020 that were like I didn't really have anything that was late, but like one that like was like almost in my top 10 was Dick Johnson Is Dead, and I really love that film.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, and that movie is
We're-
really great in terms of like
We're
just
really
a-
concerned right now, Nick.
just you know, a filmmaker dealing with their father getting dementia, and how they both kind of work through it through filmmaking creativity, and just, you know, just spending time with them through her work and whatnot. And it was the same person who did a movie called Camera Person, which is a really good documentary. But and a lot of they filmed a good chunk here in Seattle, and I like recognized like 4 people in some of the behind the scenes footage, and was like, "What the fuck? What are you doing in this, Vincent?" And yeah, it's a good little flick. But yeah, that like 2020, it's like once we were done with the list, everything, I was like, all right, bye 2020. I'm moving on 2021. So I don't get really too much in terms of like spillover from last year.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I think I have a few more things we can talk about later, but let's just get into it. Maybe we'll have some talking points just as bonus discussions later on the line. So shall we start with top 10 or bottom 10? How are we feeling this year?
I feel like we should start with bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, I always
agree with
enjoy
that.
doing bottom.
Okay, sounds very cool. And I have no idea who went first or last year. I don't suppose
Nick-
either of you remember.
I'm gonna pitch, Nick, why don't you go first, so then you have a large chunk of time
Yeah.
while we talk to sort out.
Yeah, and I can just get it over with.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so
I appreciate that very much. Okay.
And then we can like go off the stream. Like Nick goes first, I go next, you go last, unless you want to go
Perfect.
next. All right.
no, that's great.
Okay. I have a specific.
I'm so excited,
List
Nick, to
just
find
went
out
through.
how much dog shit there was like layover from what I saw to what you saw. I don't know if
In terms of our bottom 10, you mean?
in terms of our bottom 10.
Okay. Yeah, my number 10 worst movie of the year, I wouldn't say it's like the 10th most like aggravatingly awful movie of the year. I would actually say it's a pretty enjoyably awful movie, and for me that was Malcolm and Marie. It was actually the first
Fuck that movie.
It was actually the first movie I saw the entire year. And for anyone in the audience who is not aware, the story revolves around 2 black actors, and it is the fact that they are black actors in Hollywood is important part of the script and part of the story. And they've like come home from a Hollywood party, the very pretentious party, and the husband is extremely upset because all of these other like industry types are like, you know, kind of talking down to him or haven't been given the opportunities he deserves, and he's just like, it's just John David Washington delivering like 5 or 6 different shitty monologues, which by the way were all written by a skinny white kid. And like a lot of the commentary is about the black experience in Hollywood, which by the way, I'm not going to try to speak to. I don't think other white directors should really try to speak to that. Or maybe, have like a kind of like a co-op ship where you're working with other artists who actually can talk to the experience. So, yeah, it was hella cringe. The actors were bad. It makes me lose a lot of respect for their decision-making processes that they said yes to this. And also it looks amazing. So I have to give it that. I love the way it looks, and I mean that earnestly. So yeah, that's my 10th worst movie of the year.
To go off the heels of your 10th worst movie of the year, I will also add that Malcolm Marie is my number 10 for worst film of the year. I think it's just fucking atrocious, pretentious. It's the same guy who did another favorite film of mine called Assassination Nation, Sam Levinson. Just a terribly awful filmmaker who I guess is part of Euphoria, and I haven't watched Euphoria at all, but
yeah, he's the showrunner and creator of Euphoria.
Incredible. I now really want to watch Euphoria now, because based on Malcolm Marie and Assassination Nation, it's just these two films are so fucking terrible. And it's a lot of it is just like the pretentious nature of like what these characters are monologuing about, and like anything can look good in black and white too. So like I didn't find the filmmaking to be all that particularly stunning. I think he was trying to go for like a John Cassavetes kind of like 1970s like relationship kind of drama. There's one scene that's really good in it. The she's got like that knife, that kind of psycho Oscar scene that she has. But other than that, like Zendaya is very, very okay in this, and John David Washington is becoming an actor where I'm like, are you good, or you just got lucky with that one film? Because based on this and Tenet, I'm not a fan of his acting style at all. But it's it's early in his career still to tell if he's a actor I don't care for. But overall, I felt the movie was very much so self-absorbed, pretentious, and didn't really have a compelling message other than just like watching a deteriorating relationship, and that's kind of like the whole movie throughout like the 90 or so minutes of it is just like here's this couple fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. It's just lame. So not my bag of tea.
In a rare act of, it's actually an hour and 45 minutes, just in case you were wondering.
Is it an hour 45?
It's an hour 45 of people arguing in a house. In a rare act of self-restraint, which is not usual for me, I actually skipped Malcolm and Marie this year, because I heard a lot of stuff.
There you go. So not your number 10 then.
Turns out not my number 10.
Fuck.
I would argue that there's probably half of my number 10 that nobody in their right mind should have ever heard about. My number 10 is not that, though. My number 10 is Chris Rock's magnum opus, Spiral, from the Book of Saw, which is just a steaming pile of shit. It's bad. It's badly written. It feels more dated, arguably, than the original Saw does, which is really an impressive feat. And moreover than anything else, it's Chris Rock in that film might be the worst performance that I've seen all year. He's awful. It's like it was almost like a Tommy Wiseau level of just, it was disastrous. It's horrid. I don't know if either of you saw this, but if you didn't, good job, because it's bad.
Yes, I did see this. I would say for all the things that I was supposed to love about it, I did love, you know, for stupid reasons. I thought the traps were fun, the gore was fun, all the like excessive overacting was fun, but for me really the big draw of this, and I genuinely wanted this to be in my bottom 10 so I could talk about it, so I'm really glad you did. Chris Rock's performance is unbelievable. It is like one of the most extreme, bizarre, over the top decision making like acting performances I've ever seen, and it just does not work at all. But
he just doesn't have the power. He doesn't have the weight as an actor to
he doesn't
carry that, and it's that movie's buck wild. I think that was the first movie that I went back into theaters and saw.
Whoa, holy shit. Okay.
Spiral from the Book of Saw. Bad call on my end, but here we are.
Very cool. Yeah, Spiral, I recommend people go see it. It's a great bad time. My number 9.
Before you keep going, Nick, can you
please,
just for my like OCD, can you change the Matt's top 10, Justin's top 10, the Nick's top 10 to bottom 10?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I was. Oh yeah, I was.
Just so if people are coming in here and they see Malcolm
top
Marie.
Worst 10. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Let's do that. Okay, so sorry chat. Also, sorry I'm ignoring you, chat. I'm dealing with the whole Discord bullshit and making sure my debit card doesn't get stolen. In the background,
live updates on this debit card situation.
Live updates on the debit card.
So my number 9 worst movie of the year was Chaos Walking. It's just a perfect storm of something that had a huge budget, huge cast, originally had great writers. Charlie Kaufman was originally attached to this, and it just, over the course of years and years and years, it just kept, I guess, just getting worse and worse, because this has been in development for a long time. Tom Holland, outside of Spider-Man, everything I've seen so far dictates to me that he's a bad actor. I don't get it. I think it's so weird because I think he's actually quite good, especially in the newest Spider-Man. I think he does a really good job, but literally every movie I've seen and every trailer I've seen outside of it, I don't think he's done a good job. He's been very unlikable, incredibly dull. Daisy Ridley, kind of similar. I'd say she's more so she just hasn't found or been given anything that's really given her any room to like grow or do anything that I've seen. So like, yeah, just it's so crazy to me, the idea that we can have like these two young stars who for different reasons have been two of the biggest stars in the world for a few years, and as soon as they leave their respective franchises, it's just like this is terrible. So yeah, it's really boring. It's about, you know, just a planet where all the men, their thoughts come out of their head out loud, but not the women, and then there was also a mysterious thing that happened where a bunch of women on the planet died a long time ago, but and despite that premise, it's just incredibly boring. It's a bunch of walking in the woods and more walking in the woods and running from people in the woods and talking in the woods, and it's just awful. Chaos Walking.
It's not called Chaos Action.
Hey man.
There you go. I will say I didn't see this movie. I actually wanted to, but I didn't. But I'm looking at promotional images that they've released, and Daisy Ridley has on these like amazing yellow like overalls, and I think you're wrong. I'm just from that, honestly, just from the costume choices, I'm gonna fight you right now.
Nick, Matt's a Daisy Ridley stan.
I'll give you that. I can't argue with that at all.
I don't know if I'm a Daisy Ridley stan or not, because I have seen the 3 Star Wars movies, which I think she's good in, with the exception of like, you know,
she's so in what's it called, Orient Express.
Yeah, I haven't watched Orient Express because it just looks like a grueling slog. I've seen the trailer for the second one about 30 times now, and
Have you played 12 minutes?
No, I haven't played 12 minutes because I've heard it's a steaming pile of dog shit.
Oh, really? Okay. Good to know.
Have you played 12 minutes?
No, I just heard Willem Dafoe and Daisy Ridley are characters in it.
Well, it's Willem Dafoe, Daisy Ridley, and James McAvoy.
Oh, right. James McAvoy will do anything.
And I love him for it.
Yeah, he's
I love
great.
that
He's
man.
great.
But yeah, I'm not gonna go into spoilers for 12 minutes, but the basic premise of what you have to do in advance in 12 minutes is alarming. Not good.
That.
Not good. Not a good move. We can talk about it when we're not on the air anymore.
Roger that. All right, my number 9 for worst films of the year is a little film called Waikiki. It's a directorial debut from a Hawaiian filmmaker, and it's about the kind of seedy side of Hawaii's glamorous hotspot, Waikiki. And it starts off really strong. Like the first scene is really gripping, but then it kind of starts to lose its staying power right away, and it just kind of fizzles out quickly. And by the time you get to the third act, the movie becomes a bit more disjointed and confusing to watch. And I know what they're trying to get at with the homeless situation, the tourism situation, the kind of more difficult side of living in Hawaii. I see what they're trying to get with that, but I think its execution and its staying power and it's what the characters end up kind of going through isn't all that engaging to stick with, which is unfortunate. So this is more of a far more disappointing watch because I thought it had a lot more potential here, and it just didn't really take that and run. It just kind of took it with a very loud bang and then fizzled out very, very, very quickly. So that is Waikiki, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've never even fucking heard of that movie. I don't even know where you found that.
Yeah,
it was
I can't
Sif.
say I have either.
Sif played it, and we were
Mm.
watching. Shelby and I were watching the trailers, and I was still on a Hawaii high, and I was like, oh, I kind of want to see a Hawaiian, because there's not a lot of Hawaiian films that are made that are of note. And the trailer looked really interesting. I thought the ideas looked really interesting, and then by the time I watched it, I just was not gripped by it as much as I thought I would be. But oh well.
Fair enough. My number 9, which is starting to get into territory of nonsense that nobody's ever heard about, is a Netflix film called Outside the Wire, starring Anthony Mackie and no one else of note.
Oh boy.
It is. I literally hold on. I have to. It's just the most Okay, so the plot is in the near future, a drone pilot sent into a war zone finds himself paired up with a top secret android officer on a mission to stop a nuclear attack. I don't know. It's just this awful mix of one, if Anthony Mackie isn't keyed into the right frequency, he can be truly, truly awful. He can also be a phenomenal actor, but this was not that. Everybody else in the movie is worse than him. It's this just extremely contrived artificial intelligence nonsense, and there's literally every other scene is an argument between him and the main character about whether or not he has free thought because he's an android. They do this shtick 15 times where he's I did this because I needed to, and then the main guy's or did you do it because it was your programming? And then it's so it's either that or it's just the most generic like war movie you've ever seen. I don't know. It's just bad. Nick, you might have fun with it. It's bad in a very kind
I
of
don't know.
goofy way, but
Go ahead, sorry.
it's certainly like schlocky, but it's also real bad.
Okay.
At the very least, you guys should look up these images of Anthony Mackie with this like it's the most ridiculous. It's like Anthony Mackie's bust. If you just look up Outside the Wire, it's like the 5th photo that comes up. It's like Anthony Mackie's bust and then this terribly CG.
Oh my
cyborg.
god.
There you go.
I would, just for context, I watched this in I think like 4 or 5 different chunks while I was stuck in a hotel room in Spokane working on a movie. So it was just like it was truly miserable. It was a miserable viewing experience. It was a bad movie. It's not good.
Shouts out to Ducky McQuacks in the chat. He did in fact watch Outside the Wire this year, and he said it was so bad.
Yeah, what's up, guy? What's up, Ducky?
There you go.
Yeah, Lockdown is also fucking awful.
I bet. I remember the trailers for that one, and I remember immediately thinking this looks like a rich, privileged version of like Lockdown that's like just kind of making fun of the rest of us unintentionally.
Horrifyingly enough, it's not in my bottom 10 because I've watched some real dog shit this year. But yeah, Lockdown is it's just bad. It's kind of that same. It's what I imagine that same Malcolm and Marie thing is, where people didn't know how to make a movie in lockdown yet, so they were like, "What if we made a movie and it's just like an hour and 49 minutes of people like yelling very dramatic things at each other in the same room?"
Yikes.
Yeah.
Did you see Lockdown?
I did not. Did you, Justin?
No, Justin.
I'll talk about it later.
Copy that.
Sick.
All right, that was my number 9.
Okay, my number 8 for this year, worst movie of the year. Oh baby, The Tomorrow War.
I was just gonna mention The Tomorrow War because of Outside the Wire. I was like, oh, it sounds like The Tomorrow War. Some shit.
Yeah, actually, you know what?
Film.
Actually, yeah, everything from what I looked at and from that generic description, it probably sounds extremely fucking similar.
Yeah.
He is Chris Pratt and Android.
Did either or both of you watch The Tomorrow War?
No.
A lot of the things that Amazon Studios released this year, like released straight to their streaming platform, I've probably stared at for a cumulative like 10 hours and just been like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I've almost watched The Tomorrow War 6 times maybe, but I was like, I can't fucking do this to myself. It looks so bad.
Yeah, I won't lean long on this. It's just exactly what you think it is. Chris Pratt is not trying. I really just kind of fucking hate Chris Pratt as an actor now. No effort from really anyone. The writing is incredibly generic, really forced attempts at comedy, and it's actually kind of quote-unquote funny because, like, the first act contains a decent amount of, like, really contrived, forced comedy, and then it feels like for the second 2 acts of the film, the writers realized how fucking awful the dialogue and comedy attempts were that they just completely gave up on that because there's, like, 0 attempts at comedy whatsoever. It just drops off a cliff at some point. But yeah, you know, he goes to Chris Pratt has to go to the future to fight aliens because that's the only solution, and there's like 2 nice action set pieces. The aliens look pretty good, and that's it. The rest of it was garbage. The Tomorrow War.
How many times in The Tomorrow War does Chris Pratt say, "It's a me yesterday, man"?
Not enough.
Copy that. Does he, whenever he jumps, does he do the Mario Wahoo?
No, but it goes bling.
But boxes keep magically appearing out of the sky for him to break.
Yeah, it's very convenient.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, Justin.
Quote, all I can tell you is that the voice that he's doing for us in Mario is phenomenal.
But it's...
I can't wait for people to hear it. Well,
Have you two seen the video where it almost looks like he's like on acid? He's just like not even there, and he's just like,
talk about he stole the wish from the well.
yeah, he's talking about he stole the wish from the well, and then halfway through he goes, so yeah, it's a me, Mario.
Mario.
That's not the voice. Not the voice.
Hell yeah.
This Illumination executive said, "Well, as an this is a true quote. Well, as an Italian American myself, I understand. You know, I understand the comments. Charlie Day, who's playing Luigi, actually comes from Italian heritage. Yeah, so that's our nod."
Wow. Oh God.
This
That's-
movie, I'm so excited for Mario. Like if we're talking about most anticipated films this year. I only got Mario movie. I'm so fucking excited.
I actually went on your letterbox list and I saw that.
Like I was my only one, where it's like, dude, I'm here for it. I'm there day one. I can't
Oh
wait.
my god. I sincerely hope that I get COVID going to see the Super Mario Brothers movie in theater.
I hope I die in the theater watching it from COVID.
Hell yeah. That's worth
Alright.
it.
My number 8 is a documentary called The Last Blockbuster.
Oh. Cool.
Pretty much what it is. It's, here's a documentary about The Last Blockbuster in Bend, Oregon, and that's it. It just talks about the history of Blockbuster and Netflix, and Kevin Smith is making a tyrant. He's in it a lot. It's why did I not like this example?
It's just if I can hop in as somebody who also suffered their way through The Last Blockbuster.
Because I barely remember this movie.
Yeah, so I watched The Last Blockbuster like a week ago.
Yeah, you're more fresher than I am.
It feels almost like one of those really half-hearted, like, school-funded documentaries that they made you watch in middle school, where there's just, like, no original voice to it. There's this awful narration that sounds like it's done by a 14-year-old girl.
It's what's her nuts. That's what it was too. Lauren Lapkus, who.
It's Lauren Lapkus. That's right.
Yeah. She does a very like dry narration of it. I totally forgot about that.
Well, and it's just such a I don't know, they maybe have 2 people that they interview in the entire thing who actually have any stake in or were there during the rise and fall of Blockbuster, and then 80% of the interviews are comedians and actors who might have worked at Blockbuster at some point, but they don't have anything to say. It's probably 30 minutes of that movie is different comedians being like, oh yeah, I got so much tail when I was 17. I worked at Blockbuster in those fucking khakis. And it's just...
There's one comedian that goes there near the end, and it's like 10
yeah,
minutes of him.
It's the super Jaime guy. Yeah.
That guy was unbearable to watch.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I understand the idea. It's almost like 2019's Yesterday, the Danny Boyle movie, where it's to make this movie, you either have to be realistic about what this is, or you have to act like Blockbuster was the best thing that's ever happened to home video ever. And that's what they did, and it did not pan out. It's a bad movie.
A similar documentary that I did not care for, I think a year or 2 ago, called Back in Time, which is about Back to the Future, but a lot of it's just about memorabilia and people collecting shit and just rando stories that you've heard over before. It's just it's the same level of that, and it's listen, video store, to quote Sean Fennessy, video stores are important. Sadly, this film is not. So.
Yeah, well, and it's also just they keep interviewing the woman who's like the manager of the last Blockbuster. And the poor woman, I'm sure, is great at managing a Blockbuster, but just has nothing to say. So she says like the same 4 things about 80 times. It's not
well, and this works better as like a YouTube Vice short, probably documentary short, as opposed to like an hour and.
It's way too long.
How long is this fucker? 86 minutes. 86 minutes.
Too long.
Yeah.
I stand by it. Too long.
It's 63 minutes too long.
I think I put it on because I was like, oh, it's 86 minutes, and I was trying to get a few more things in. It took me 3 days to finish it. I had to watch it in chunks because I would get like 30 minutes into it and be like, I'm the most bored I've ever been in my entire life. And I would like
it's not like the hardest watch, but it definitely is like a very, very boring watch.
No, it's not a hard watch. It was just so easy to not watch. It was so easy to just be like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that me?
Yes.
I feel bad. I just talked a bunch.
No, you watched it more recently than I did, and you jogged my memory on like the super high guy and fucking Lauren Lapkus. So you covered it.
All right. My number 8 worst movie of the year is Guy Ritchie's Wrath of Man, starring Jason Statham, because of course it is. This, I don't know. It's like the plot of this movie is like almost interesting, but I don't know if he was just like kind of trying to do something different. I don't know if this is based on some sort of existing source material, but the dialogue in this movie and the way that it's delivered by every actor, even if they're a good actor outside of this movie, which for what he is, I think Jason Statham is, and I've always been like a Josh Hartnett fan, but like everybody is just operating at like 5% capacity. The dialogue's awful. Nobody knows what to do with it. So it's this series of just like bizarre, inhuman performances. It's a disaster. The one saving grace of it is that the guy from Burn Notice is in it as kind of this just like middle-aged, washed up old army guy, and he's the closest to being like a functional actor in the movie, but it's a rough ride. I don't know if either of you saw this, but
it looks like a like when I was looking at the poster for it. One, I didn't know it was Guy Ritchie, but like look at the poster, I'm like, oh, is this your generic Jason Statham film that he puts out that's not like of note? So I did a skip on it.
If it was a generic Jason Statham movie that wasn't of note, I wouldn't have even cared. But there's something there's like a poison deep down in the heart of this thing that I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came from. I'm usually a fan of Guy Ritchie's other work. I don't know what the fuck this thing is.
He's got like 5 misses that leads to a big high, I feel.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that fucking thing is, but
yeah,
it's out there for the world to see.
The Gentleman came out the same year, right?
I can't remember if The Gentleman was this year. I think The Gentleman was this year, which I did not see.
Me neither. I think Shelby saw.
Yeah, shocker. The Gentleman was a 2020. It was
really? Wow.
It was like January of 2020. It's listed as a 2019.
Fuck me sideways. I'm really off. All right.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I'm back. It's done. It's taken care of. We have no more interruptions. My debit card has been canceled.
We beat
nice.
Hacker
Thank you.
We
Wait, what were you talking
Claps
about?
in the chat.
Claps in the chat. GG's in the chat.
No rees.
GG,
No
my
rees.
debit card. RIP.
R.I.P. debit card.
Press F to pay respects to the hacker. GG. Actually, your timing's perfect because we actually just got back to you.
Okay, what was your number 8, Matt?
My number 8 was Guy Ritchie's Wrath of Man,
Okay.
which is bad.
Who is the lead in that, or leads?
Jason Statham.
Oh, that okay. You don't have to say anything else.
There you
It's-
go.
It's truly Jason Statham at a career worst.
Yeah, he's got to come up with a new shtick. I really like the person Jason Statham though. He's a swell guy. So I don't know. I can't hate him too much. My
No,
number
I actually.
7
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I just feel
I
bad.
actually usually like Jason Statham, but he's truly. There's everyone in this movie's awful, even if I like them as an actor most of the time.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay, cool. And I want to say to the chat one more time, I apologize, my followers. I've been ignoring you. If for anyone who doesn't know, my debit card was stolen in a phishing scam. It was my fault. I was a dumbass, so I've been taking care of that during this stream, and I'm very disappointed in myself. My number 7 worst movie of the year is Bliss. You guys,
Bliss.
have you heard of this?
I have heard of Bliss. It was another one I didn't want. It's another fucking Amazon Studios, straight to Amazon. And I was like, I
was
can't
it
fucking
too?
do this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
many of these.
Yeah, that's there are quite a few. So Bliss, God, let me try to recall the fucking plot of this. It's one of those movies that's trying to be like an allegory for chronic drug addiction, but just everything about its presentation is like just very lopsided. The characters are very bizarre and unrealistic, uneven. And I think the worst part of it is it feels like it's trying to do a gotcha moment toward the ends of the movie of like, oh, this was about drug addiction. I bet you didn't know that. Surprise! And like in my review on Letterboxd, at 3 different points, because sometimes, especially for shitty movies, I kind of like to write my review as I'm watching the movie. And like I had literally typed in at 3 different points in my review, oh, this kind of seems like it's about addiction. Oh, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. But then sure enough, by the end, it's just, I can barely remember what it's about. It's like Owen Wilson, he has an alternate life, but it's not his, or he's one of his lives is a simulation and one of them is real. But it turns out the simulation was just a metaphor for drugs. Like, it wasn't like, I can't remember. It's not even clear if he's like literally hallucinating all of this or if it's something that's actually happening and he's just having a really like crazy time deciphering all of it. It's a mess. It is. I think it's a great movie if you want to like get film people together and just watch a terrible movie that's fucking bonkers and has no idea what its own script is doing at any point. So yeah, really, really baffling. I'd say probably the most baffling bad movie of the year for me by far. It is really fucking out there. So yeah, Bliss.
As you were describing this, I specifically went in to make sure it wasn't the same guy who directed what was that Matthew McConaughey movie from 2019? Serenity.
Oh.
Because it just sounds like the same bullshit. It
right. Yeah.
has a very similar cover even. And I was just like, is this Serenity?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty awful. All right, Justin, 7. All right, on to you, Justin.
My number, what were we at? 7? My number 7 is Mortal Kombat.
Yes! Ba, 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 ba.
Oh, the chat's gonna be so happy.
Yeah, this is the one Wolfgang Collins did not want to be on our bottom 10, but he had to leave, so he'll come back later and be really upset. But yeah,
I thought
please.
he did want it to be on our bottom 10.
We'll find out. Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
I
want to talk about this one too.
So, you know what's weird about this one is that I feel like they got a lot right, but they didn't execute it well at all. Like they got the core, like they got the. I felt like they understood what Mortal, like I would say the opening scene is pretty solid, and then after that it just kind of loses its way, and it's actually like the action is kind of here and there. It's not really that like fantastic until the end, and even then it feels like you're waiting for a lot more to happen with the action, and it just feels like a wet noodle a lot of the time. Like the Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight at the end isn't all that great.
I'm not even gonna play the trailer. I'm just gonna play the only decent fight from the movie, which, as you just mentioned, isn't even that great.
Yeah, like it's serviceable, but it's not to a point that
it's so short for me.
They're
That was the
also
problem.
like,
yeah,
the fights
like
are so
they-
short, but the movie is so long.
They blew their
The movie's
load
so
in the
fucking
trailer.
long.
Yeah. It's a
Well,
bummer.
and I don't know. I'm like, as much as I do think that this fight works, it's. I think it's completely, like, despite the fact that you don't give a shit about any of the characters in this movie, the fact that Scorpion like isn't even a character in the movie and is just like a bizarre plot device that gets pulled out at the very end of the movie. Like, I understand that he's the guy from the beginning, but I'm just like, you completely take anything in this movie that I could give a shit about, and it's like, you didn't even like put in the work to just make one of the two characters from your last fight matter.
Yeah.
If you made the movie,
God, that blood dagger part's sick.
the blood
though.
dagger part's pretty sick. But I think if you made the movie about Scorpion's like revenge for his family, like I think that might have been more compelling to watch, or have it be the fucking tournament.
Yeah.
Like it's not like the tournament isn't even like a second thought in the film. It's so bizarre.
I mean,
And,
the only thing that Mortal Kombat is known and appreciated for are its cool character designs and the gruesome battles. That's fucking it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand how there's so many iterations of Mortal Kombat movies where, and you know, credit to them when they do focus on the fighting, but a lot of the time it's just like, let's just tell this extremely long, generic, mystical story that's the most like baseline structure you could possibly come up with, and it just ends up focusing on all of the most boring aspects of the movie. My review for this movie, part of my review on Letterboxd, is that this was my most attempted watched movie of the year, as in I sat down and put this on I think 10 different times, and the first 9 fucking times I became so incredibly bored in the first 20 minutes that I couldn't finish it. And finally, after like 6 months of retrying this movie, I finished it. 2 stars. So I'm so glad I dedicated all that time.
Quite the journey.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't know. I just like, it's also like, I think a huge problem with this movie is that the main character is just such a fucking wet noodle. He just like
Yeah. You saw
That's
it.
barely
that's gonna be my
exists.
other notes.
And it's like, you have so many interesting characters in Mortal Kombat. Like, Liu Kang is an interesting character in Mortal Kombat. You, like, why didn't you just fucking make the main character Liu Kang instead of some guy that doesn't exist in the canon that you did nothing with?
Yeah. And that was my biggest problem at the end of this. That's all these characters were just very bland and forgettable, and just like it's a bummer because it looks like it was like going to be promising, but then it just didn't fulfill any of that. So
Yeah.
that's a Mortal Kombat. Maybe we'll get it right the next time.
Nah.
God, I hope there's not a next time.
There will be a next time, buddy. You know
yeah.
how these movies go.
Yeah.
If there's a next time, I hope it's like an Avengers Endgame level event and they do what the games have been doing and it's just nonsense and they put in like every horror movie bad guy from the last 20 years.
What?
Like, if you play
made
the Mortal
Freddy
Kombat game,
In-
Freddy's in it, Jason's in it,
Oh,
Leatherface is in it,
right.
the Terminator's in it. It's
Oh, yeah.
insanity.
That's cool.
And I'm just like, Do it. Go buck wild. You clearly can't function with the actual structure. Just go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Number 7.
I don't even want to fucking talk about this movie.
Oh, good. This is exciting. You're only on number 7. You're already getting exhausted.
Oh boy.
My number 7 worst movie of the year is Tom and Jerry.
Oh yeah, that looked fucking
my
awful,
God.
dude. I did not. I was not gonna do that one.
I'm not gonna go into a whole conversation about Tom and Jerry because it doesn't deserve it. But
Good.
the best thing I can say is that Tom and Jerry feels like all of the hallucinations of being on hallucinogenic drugs without any of the joy of being on drugs.
I think I know exactly. I can think of movies that have exactly that feeling. I know exactly.
I truly there was a good half of Tom and Jerry where I was like, am I high right now? It was 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, and I was like, am I high right now? There's no way that this is happening, but there's no joy to it. There's not a single fun moment in that entire movie.
Shocking for a Tom and Jerry film.
Yeah, Ducky McQuacks in the chat saw it. He said, "Disgusting movie. Everything Chloe Moretz touches turns to shit." I wouldn't say that. Well, he said outside of Kick-Ass though.
I don't know.
Hasn't she done
I
good
think
stuff though.
I think
Carrie has its moments.
I
yeah,
like her.
Carrie
I
has
give-
its moments.
I give her a pass.
She was in this weird movie. She was in this weird movie called Greta 2 years ago that she's actually pretty good in.
Oh,
I don't
sounds
know.
Familiar.
I just don't think she's like gotten a chance. I just don't think she's in like a really weird
Greta
point
is
right
super
now.
good.
Yeah, Greta is good. I just think that she's at this very weird point right now where she doesn't look old enough to be getting adult roles, but she's not a kid actor anymore.
That's
And-
fair.
I don't know, to be a working actor, you gotta fucking act if that's how you're paying your bills. So I think she's been dealt a raw hand, but she is bad in that movie. I'm not, everyone is, especially Colin Jost. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, that's me next. Cool. My bad. My number 6
Oh, good lord.
worst movie of the year is at this point, they could all be the same number. Reminiscence. Or yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter.
no,
Yeah,
poor
Reminiscence.
Hugh Jackman.
So, Hugh Jackman. It's so this is by no means an abysmally terrible movie. It's just boring and uninspired. But what really pushed it over the edge for me is that the main plot revolves. It takes place in one of the U.S. coastal cities after climate change has caused the ocean level to rise like 20 meters. And like the whole background development of this world is, I mean, it's just really depressing to talk about, but it's real. Like, this is shit that's going to happen. And I just am like, I just feel offended on behalf of like the whole human race whenever you have a movie that takes the topic of the potential extinction or degradation or de-evolution of humanity, and like, there are ways to do that and make it very respectful. Like, I would actually say Greenland, surprisingly, is a good movie for that. I would recommend Greenland for apocalypse movies that do a good job of showcasing like the emotions of it and the procedural process of it. But this was just so offensive and how lifeless it was. Like, didn't give a shit about the characters, didn't give a shit about what was going on. The whole movie takes place in like one fucking location for the most part. It's just this one dreary water-filled room, and Hugh Jackman has this like Minority Report machine. Wrong trailer. he has this like Minority Report machine that, and I'm not kidding you, it really does, like, as far as I can recall, it does exactly what the Minority Report machine does. It's just a fucking copy paste. It like lets you show things that are happening, or I think it might also let you relive memories, because, you know, we're in the era of like, ooh, nostalgia is killing us. Everyone's gonna get sucked into their VR headsets and just look at nostalgia forever, like Ready Player One. So, yeah, just incredibly fully lifeless, bland performances from great actors. The writing is shit, and it's offensive to all humanity. So there you go. Reminiscence.
Damn. Pour one out for Boo Jackman.
This is no longer the greatest show.
Jesus Christ.
Matt coming in hot. My number, where are we at, 6? My number 6 is a little film called Saint Maud.
Oh.
I fucking did not care for this film at all. I thought the setup is interesting. Someone that's so compelled by religion that they think that what they're doing is very holy and righteous and whatnot. But it just doesn't really like it establishes that setup, and then it doesn't like. It's like Waikiki, where it's like it didn't like sustain that same high, that same kind of like intrigue, and it didn't really go any like. And again, A24, they have such a weird play on horror marketing. It's very poorly done.
Just in general, or with this movie?
In general.
What about what about like the fucking, oh wow,
Hereditary?
Midsummer and Hereditary.
Well, I mean, they have exceptions.
Okay, but most
for
of
sure,
them,
but,
you think,
like
are not good.
it comes at night is a huge example of like
Okay.
how that was marketed pretty poorly, and it's
Well,
like
that movie's just bad.
well, yeah, and this is the same case too. So it's
Sure.
like,
But the
you know,
trailers
like-
made it look good, is what you're saying.
yeah, and look, my whole thing is like they haven't marketed a movie, they haven't done a trailer thing where it feels
Accurate
It
to
feels-
what the movie is.
I would say in some cases, yeah, but like I would say for the most part, their marketing is pretty solid. Like
Yeah,
it's 5 stars across the board. Their marketing, but when you actually go see the film, it's like, you know, it's either like tonally, it's something completely different. People will argue like The Witch's marketing is pretty like is not good, and I'm like, I think you get exactly what you
Yeah.
get from The Witch.
Witch's
marketing.
I definitely
So-
remember The Witch's marketing being a great
Yeah.
representation of that movie.
So
Yeah.
what you're saying is basically if A24's bought a bad horror movie halfway through the trailer in big block letters, you want them to put like a still frame that says we've accidentally bought a bad movie, and then another still frame comes up and says this movie will be bad, and then the A24 logo comes up.
But they have. But the funny thing is, like A24 has such a like stereotypical, like overly blown reputation, you know, because I think you are making a good point that their trailers tend to look really, really good, and there's the impression that a lot of people talk about that excuse me, sorry, looking at that
But
Discord
like
thing,
that's
it's
their
sorted.
job. It's their job as a distribution house to make
Yeah.
whatever movies they've bought
Oh yeah, of
look
course.
marketable for people to come out to them.
I
Yeah.
think the R movie subreddit or somewhere made a really good point that A24 has had this very specific standing with how it is viewed by the general public, because they do of course put out just as many shitty and schlocky films as any other production company does, but something about their marketing, they're much better about pushing those shitty movies way off into a dark corner and really pumping the fuck out of the films that are pretty good. And I'd say, like, comparatively to most other studios, I would, they have that name brand recognition that isn't necessarily as deserved as people give it, I guess I would say.
But wouldn't you say that makes them an incredibly efficient
Yes, absolutely.
marketing company? Like
Absolutely.
because that's their job.
Yeah, I gotta give him credit for it. Yeah, I
Is
mean
to-
more from like from the perspective of like, I guess I would say more average moviegoers. If you just bring up A24 with someone who, let's say, sees like 10 to 15 movies a year, you know, if you say A24, they'll say, oh yeah, they only make really good movies. Is kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah. And
the-
and you know, another example recently too would be Lamb. Like Lamb is marketed as a
right.
purely horror kind of like almost
Yeah.
nonsensical comedy satire film, and that movie's just kind of like a dull drama all the way through.
Okay.
It is a drama. I think I don't know if I was.
Say it's a drama.
It's certainly a drama. I don't know if I'm maybe as. I don't know if I was maybe as hard on Lamb
I was
as you
very hard
were.
on Lamb because the thing with Lamb is that it's so like from its marketing, it's so absurd where it's like this really kind of like visceral horror, and then it turns into this kind of weird like with the Beach Boys song, it like becomes this kind of weird like nonsensical kind of like almost satiristic comedy kind of deal. And then you watch the movie and it's pretty fucking toned down. Like
okay.
in comparison to like the trailer. Like it's pretty like restrained, and the gimmick itself is pretty stale by the time you start to see the fucking kid walk around with the lamb head. So
Yeah, sorry. Quick update. I'm actually at 112 films for the year. I never put Lamb in.
Oh.
This happens to be every fucking year.
But with Saint Maud though, like my
Yeah.
whole issue with it is that I think again it's a good setup, but I think its grip on holding the audience is just not there at all, and I think its characters aren't all of that compelling. You can make them like I think there's a character that is introduced in the film that is removed from the film later on, and I think that kills a lot of the momentum for it.
Okay.
And I think if that character had stayed, it would have helped the main character's journey be far more intriguing. And yeah, again, it's just like I think it's just poor marketing. Or no, you know what? It's not even that. I don't think it's poor marketing. I just think the film is just poorly made, and it just doesn't sustain that staying power like Waikiki did. So, yeah,
Okay.
That's fair.
yeah.
I'm actually at 113. I also
Okay.
forgot to log Benedetta.
Holy shit.
Benedetta, you saw Benedetta this year?
Fuck yeah, it's not Benedetta this year.
Forgot about Benedetta. Fuck, man. I've stopped. I gotta hang on. I gotta put it on the side here.
Benedetta, side note, there's a part in Benedetta where a woman sprays breast milk at somebody
Whoa.
God,
out
I
of
missed
her boob.
I have not heard anything about this movie. What is
Benedetta is the new Paul Verhoeven movie, which is the guy who
shit,
did
Rancid.
Total Recall.
Oh.
And, It's
man,
a
I missed
lesbian nun movie, baby.
Fuck.
Which is why Saint Maud got me to think about it.
Fuck. I should have. I totally forgot about this film.
You're not really missing anything.
Do you think this would have made my top 10? Be honest.
Absolutely not. It's smack dab in the middle of my list. It's like a 3-star movie.
Okay, I'm backing on. I can live with this. Fuck.
Yeah,
That's
I would.
the one I genuinely am mad I missed.
That's fair. Yeah, I saw it at the Crest.
The Crest was playing. Fuck, dude.
Baby. Okay, my number 6 worst movie of the year is it's another Netflix movie. Nick, you should maybe watch this one because it's such a steaming pile of dog shit, but in kind of like a really messy, fun way. It's called Deadly Illusions.
Oh, okay. Not heard of it at all.
Yeah, no one should. It's awful, but it's this movie about this woman who's a writer, and she's like feeling overwhelmed with her kids, so they end up hiring a nanny who's played by Kelsey Grammer's daughter, who has a terrible name, Greer Grammer.
Oh, yikes.
And then it's basically this like sexual thriller where you're like, oh, is she like trying to fuck the writer lady? Is she trying to fuck that lady's husband? It's a whole deal. And the end of it is it has like a real disaster twist in it.
Nice. Those are the best.
Yeah, it's a very out of nowhere twist.
Okay. Just unjustified. No, I just couldn't have seen it coming in any universe.
No, it's not like completely unjustified, but it's one of those twists where you're like, if you handed me like a list of 20 options that made sense for how this movie was going to end, and this was one of them, this would be the last one that I picked. It was an awful choice.
Yeah, this trailer definitely looks like what's it called? 50 Shades of Grey, but with more violence and betrayal, I guess, and also more boring.
Oh, and the mom's like going crazy. She doesn't know if she's like having sex with the husband or the nanny. It's a fucking disaster.
Nice. Very cool.
it's hot trash, but yeah, this is also officially the point where there's maybe only one more movie in my bottom 10 that I think either of you or anyone in your Twitch stream will have heard about.
Okay, very cool. Beautiful. All right, let's keep it moving then. My number 5 movie of the year was one that most likely people have not heard of. Gunpowder Milkshake.
Yeah.
Is that the what's
the
her
Karen
name?
Gilliam one?
Yeah, Karen Gilliam.
So what's interesting? So there's a few things actually very interesting about this. So first off, it's just 100% John Wick, but girl. Because of course that's necessary and inevitable. But what really makes this especially awful is there was actually another movie I watched this year that was John Wick but girl called Kate.
Is it Kate? Kate? Yeah.
Kate is quite a good action movie.
Good to hear.
Yeah, the dialogue and writing, they're not great, but it's genuinely, you both should watch Kate, because you have Mary Elizabeth Winstead in the John Wick position, and it's ultra gory. A lot of the kills are super creative. Some of them are very funny. So, go into it expecting a shitty script, but really, really worth it action and performances. That's Kate, not this movie. And so it just makes it all the more baffling that this movie came out the same year. It is literally the exact same premise as John Wick, only that with Gunpowder Milkshake, it has a couple fight scenes that are good, but aside from that, it's just awful. What's her name? This woman from Game of Thrones who plays Karen Gillan's mother is like just the most token, sad, mysterious mom character I've encountered in a decade, I think, where in every scene she's just telling her daughter how she didn't want her. I didn't want this for you. I swear I didn't want this for you. I wanted you to have a normal life. And it's just that nonstop. That's her only character, the only thing she says the whole movie. All of
Lena
the dialogue.
Headey, that's her name. Sorry.
Yes. No, you were right. Thank you, Lena Headey or Lena Headley. Incredibly cringe dialogue. There's one line, I'm going to my review here in the movie. Just a few notes I took. So there's a part where the main character Karen Gillan, instead of having like the hotel of like employees who like backs her up and helps her, it's just like 3 women in a library who just exist there.
Oh my God.
And there's a line where Karen Gillan is talking to the other 3 women, and they're literally just having a conversation about how cool and good it is to be a woman who kicks ass. And I wrote this line down. One of them literally says the words, quote, "Gender equality, very progressive, a feminist," end quote. So that's the type of dialogue you're dealing with the whole movie. It wants you to know that this is the most feminine, badass, girl power John Wick movie you can imagine, when in fact it's awful. And there's another movie, again, I've got to reiterate, called Kate, Everyone should go watch it. It's great. It's exactly what this movie tried to be. So, there. One recommendation and one non-recommendation for you, friends.
Well, there you
Number
go.
5.
Breaking news: Degrassi gets a reboot in 2023 on HBO
Hell yeah.
Max.
HBO Max,
Of course
baby.
it does.
HBO Max, whip them out. Y'all watching new Gossip Girl? Probably not, but I am.
I was, and then I stopped at the end of its first parts and was like, I don't know what's happening anymore. I don't know why these teachers care to be bullying these kids. So I have no idea. Spoiler alert:
We
Gossip
need
Girl's
pics
teacher.
of teens.
I don't get it.
Justin, we need pics of teens.
I got it for like the first episode. Then I was like, what's the motivation here?
I am
Gossip Girl's
I'm simultaneously watching new Gossip Girl and old Gossip Girl. My mind is jello.
My number 5 is another kind of independent film. Is it? Oh yeah, it's English. It's called 8 for Silver. It's about it takes place in the late 19th century. It's about a cursed werewolf movie, and I honestly don't remember anything about it other than there was a lot of terrible jump scares, and in my review I literally said I don't remember anything about it. Thank you. Next. I'm like, I literally logged this after.
What was the title again?
8 for Silver. I have no idea. I remember not liking it. I remember there's jump scares in there that were like, Matt? Remember when we went to go see Resident Evil, the final chapter?
No, motherfucker, because you went without me.
Did I go see it by myself?
Yes.
Nick, did I see it with you?
Wait, it cut out again. What was the title of the movie?
8 for Silver.
8 for Silver?
The reason you can't.
I have not heard. I've not even heard of
No,
that.
I watched every Resident Evil movie with you, and then you went to see the last chapter without me.
No, you weren't there with me.
I've never seen that movie. I was not there.
You want to borrow it? I have it on Blu-ray.
Sure.
I saw it with someone, but anyways.
I think you saw it with Shelby. I think you drugged Shelby to it.
No, Shelby would have definitely said no to that one. You didn't see it with me, Nick?
No, I can't even find a trailer for this on YouTube.
Yeah, it's not. It played at
Resident chapter, not
Wow.
8 for Silver.
Wait, what?
No,
Did you see Resident Evil 7 with me?
Oh, did I see Resident Evil, the final chapter with you? Yes, I did.
That's who it was. Why
Yeah.
weren't you with me, Matt?
I have no idea. I think you didn't invite me.
I doubt that.
I don't remember. I don't remember why.
Monday.
I would guess that I was working, but
Probably. Fuck, what the hell? I think it might have been on its last leg too, like when it was out, because I don't think I saw it right away.
I think you saw it
I
right
saw it
away.
because talk about a trailer that looked fucking sick, and then the movie was dog water.
That was
Anyway.
the most exhausting half a year of my life. Was
Guys,
your
if you-
obsession
well-
with the Resident Evil: The Final Chapter trailer?
Guys, if you guys have not seen the Resident Evil Final Chapter trailer, do yourselves a favor and watch that trailer and be like, how could this be a bad film? But so I watched when I watched Resident Evil Final Chapter. The thing about that movie that got me was like it was jump scare after jump scare after jump scare. So it just was more
Yeah.
exhausting to watch than it was like you know. So like that was this movie. It was just a lot of like just here's a jump scare, here's a jump scare, here's a jump scare. It's about a werewolf. Whoa. And that's about
Yeah,
it.
Nick.
Really don't remember this movie at all.
So Nick, 8 for Silver played at SIFF. It like doesn't even exist. I don't think it's found distribution. So I'm not shocked you can't find a trailer for it.
Okay, yeah, that's the first time that's ever happened on this, I want to say. I just can't find the trailer at all. That's pretty
Trailer's
crazy.
not on here.
No, it's not even. It doesn't even have a poster, Justin. It has
that's
one promotional image of a bunch of people standing in a field. And one of them has a gun and one of them has a torch.
What the fuck? Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's just reviews. That's wild. This movie probably never saw light of day. Well, I wish I could even show you a trailer, but apparently it's so bad
I
it's
wish
got
you could
nothing.
show you a trailer so you could remember what the
I
movie's about.
do not remember. I know it had a werewolf in it, and I know there's jump scares. And it was like it's moody. I fucking don't remember this movie. I just remember not liking it at all.
Yeah. No
You don't
kidding.
remember this movie so much you've willed it out of existence.
Pretty much.
Aside from one promotional image.
I'm reading the plot to it, and I still don't remember any of this.
Yikes, dude. Holy shit.
All right, my number 5. If you're done, Justin,
I'm
talking
done.
about
I
the
got
movie
nothing
that
about It for
you can't
Silver.
remember. My number 5 worst movie of the year is called Slacks. It's spelled SALXX. It's a
Oh my
Hulu
God.
original 77-minute long horror comedy about pants that murder people and take their blood. I don't know what else to say. It's not good, but it is 77
That sounds like a
minutes,
good
and
time.
that's fucking great. I think I don't know. I don't like I'm in a similar boat where I remember very little about this movie, aside from the fact that pants kill people. I remember it being kind of bad in a fun way, like truly bad, but there were like a few moments that were fun. But I don't, I don't want to. I would certainly never recommend this to anyone because I cannot even remember what happened in it. Oh, there's some sort of curse that's put on the pants. It's a whole deal. There's some sort of
Very
curse that's put on the pants from the migrant workers that made
Oh.
them.
Oh, that sounds offensive.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
But you know what it is? It might be offensive, but you know what else it is, Nick? 77 minutes long.
Beautiful
Okay.
runtime.
And that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's 3 minutes. I think that's 3 minutes short. No, that's only 12 minutes longer than the minimum requirement for a movie to be considered a movie by the MPAA. Loved it. Awful.
Very
That's all I
cool.
got.
Yeah, it looks creative.
Sure.
Oh,
Oh, that's me. Okay, no, that's me. My bad.
yeah.
Okay. My number 4. My number 4 worst movie of the year. He's back, baby, and he's doing as little as he possibly can for as much money as he can possibly get at all times. It's Bruce Willis in Cosmic Sin.
Oh boy.
What the fuck is this?
This is one of, I'm sure you guys are aware that Bruce Willis now does like 10 movies every year where he just shows up for like 1 or 2 days of shooting. So,
Oh no.
yeah,
Yeah,
so this is one of those.
I meant to tell you, Nick, I kind of worked on one. Oh, God, it's a
Oh.
double header with him and Frank Grillo? That's fucking heinous.
Dude,
Was it Apex?
What?
Yeah, so
Oh.
there's this movie called Apex. I don't think it's out, but the trailer's out. So I showed up, and it was such a disaster. I was there for, like, a pre-light.
Mm-hmm.
The truck never showed up. I sat there for 5.5 hours outside of a church in Bellingham.
Wow.
The grip truck never showed up. And the DP came over and went, "Yeah, you should go home. The truck isn't coming tonight." And I was like, "Okay, thanks so much." And then he went, "Make sure they pay you." As I was driving away.
Oh my God.
Wow.
But go on, Nick. Sorry, I
Okay.
just had to.
No, that's incredible. Okay. Sorry, I'm still dealing with bank shit. Just making sure everything's in order.
Actor's back.
Oh
Something
no,
like that.
God, it's out already.
Oh.
Justin, it's out already. It's called Apex.
Oh.
You can watch it for free. You can watch it with a premium subscription to the Roku channel.
Is
Oh
there a,
my god.
is there a trailer for this? Apex.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, we'll put this on in the background because I'm sure it's the same movie.
Yeah, except they don't have those fun space suits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Fucking
Cosmic
wild.
Sin. I just have a few listed things from my review of really bad things that happen in this movie. One, a character speaks baby talk to her motorcycle as if it's her pet dog. Two, none of the actors give compelling line delivery whatsoever. Every attempt at humor falls flat. Three, it's shot like a sci-fi channel series, but worse. Number four, choreography is laughably off-kilter. Pointless, flavorless uses of slow motion. Comic relief is obnoxious and terrible. There's there's an incredibly awkward dick joke. It's not offensive. It's like just genuinely unfunnily awkward to the nth degree. I remember that stood out really bad as like just I like had to like, you know, shake my head and close my eyes because I couldn't believe how awful the individual joke was. And best of all, it's just really, really, really fucking boring. So yeah, Bruce Willis, gotta love him. He's only doing good things these days. And this movie looks, Apex looks identical.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like quality, shooting style, minimal locations, minimal budget. Very cool.
Very
cool.
Yeah, they had to film in Bellingham because for reasons that I'm not going to disclose. Bruce Willis was not allowed in Canada.
Wow, I'm glad I know that though.
Oh, copy you. Interesting.
I feel very privileged to know that info.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't sign an NDA or literally any paperwork, but they'll, you know, hunt me down and try to sue me for that. For
Interesting.
Apex. No, probably not. But
No. But interesting to know.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, has Bruce DKR Patty asking, has Bruce Willis been good in any movie? Yeah, I think he was good in Sixth Sense. I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It worked
I think
there.
he's
Unbreakable.
yeah,
he's
good in
such an
Unbreakable.
interesting actor because when he's on, he can be very, very good. He just maybe hasn't been on in like 20 years.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
been a
he
while.
cares.
Yeah. You know, I don't care for him that much in the movie, but Looper he's fine in.
Yeah.
He is good in Looper.
Yeah.
It's certainly the
effort.
most. It's certainly the most checked in he's been.
Yeah.
Of
as
course.
much as I can give him.
Of course, Die Hard. Yes, we did overlook that. The most obvious
Die Hard
choice.
commercial he did.
Oh, a commercial.
Oh, that's right. He did that Die Hard commercial this year, and we were all
Yeah.
really proud of him. We all clapped when we saw it on the TV.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, he's
That was
great in
solid.
Pulp Fiction.
Die Hard, Moonstruck. He's fine.
He's not in Moonstruck. You're thinking of Nicolas Cage.
Fuck. The other one
But
he did. The other Moon
Nicolas
movie.
Cage fucks in
Armageddon.
Moonstruck.
Nicolas
Nicolas Cage.
No, you go.
Nicolas Cage. If the two of you haven't seen Moonstruck with Nicolas Cage and Cher, that movie is like fine, but there's a moment in it that is phenomenal. It's where you meet Nicolas Cage's character. He has a full unibrow. His hair's
They have, like, a
insane.
hook.
He has a wooden hand.
Right.
Yeah.
And Cher comes down and is like, I want to invite you to me and your brother's wedding. And he just starts going, Sherry, grab me the big knife off the counter. And he cuts to this woman who's only in this scene. And she's like, no, I won't do it. And he's like, you grab me the big knife off the counter. I'm going to slit my throat. And
Jesus, fuck.
it's fucking amazing.
Moonstruck is a lot of fun.
Nicolas Cage is goddamn unhinged in that movie. It's
John Mahoney from Frasier's in it. I mean, it's a stacked
Yeah.
cast.
yeah, that movie's bizarre, but rules. Frank Grillo was in something that was almost, it was maybe my like number 13 worst movie of the year. Yeah. Called Boss Level, which is horrible.
Oh, that sounds terrible. The
It's
video
a
game thing.
no, it's a time loop movie.
Oh no. Oh wait, I have heard of this movie. Yeah,
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 the
yeah, yeah,
Hulu movie with
yeah. It's like
positive person we all love and nobody's mad at, Mel Gibson.
oh yeah.
Wait, you say time loop?
No,
Yeah,
boss level.
Yeah, you know
Oh.
that thing that happens that's in every piece of media now where somebody gets stuck in a time loop?
Yeah, yeah.
He was asking about the title of the film.
Oh
Boss
yeah, it's
Level.
called Boss Level.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Okay, great. Yeah, I remember all the marketing for this.
Yeah, Hulu's really hitting some bangers out of the park this year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of streaming services are.
Yeah.
My turn?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I'm not even gonna say anything, but you know what's coming.
Oh. Uh-oh. What? Oh, yeah. Woohoo! Yeah! Come on and slam. And break your fucking dick.
Space Jam 2, baby.
Space Jam 2.
I heard the
talking about
Notorious
this.
P.I.G. is in that.
This
It's
barely escaped my top 10, so I'm glad that you have mentioned it so we can talk about it.
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, I know Michael Jordan isn't a good actor at all.
Well,
But
yeah, I mean, the first Space Jam isn't even like a great movie. It's like a mild 3 at best.
it's fun. It's more fun than this for sure.
Oh yeah.
Because you got the Bill Murray thing, the Bill Murray subplot that kind of, or I guess not subplot, but like his whole cameo is a lot of fun. Wayne Knight is fun. Michael Jordan, like he's at least performing, where LeBron James is like, you're my son, and you gotta do it this way.
Oh yeah.
You know? It's very still. It's very monotone. It's not there at all. There's no like life there at all. And yeah, it's pretty much the same thing as the first Space Jam. What's his nuts?
I mean, it's
very meta.
The plot is the same, but in terms of just like the shilling of Warner properties,
my God.
This is probably one of the most catastrophic like incidents of over shilling your own properties that I think I've ever seen. Probably top 3.
And you know what's even I would say Spider-Man 3 has probably the best like actors background actors that you could find in that movie. The background actors in Spider-Man 3 are fucking terrible. Like they're
okay.
the background actors during like the actual basketball events with like the Mr. Freeze and like the Mask and like Penguin and just like all these other Warner Brothers like characters in the backgrounds, Scooby-Doo, all that sort. They look like they were made out of Party City like costumes and are acting in the most strange ways. Like they're just going like, you know, it's just so weird. It's so bizarre and it's so distracting from everything else in the movie. And yeah, no, I mean, it's such a bad idea of a sequel, and it's so poorly executed in terms of creativity, and it's just like, yeah, it's exactly written by like an executive more than a creative person. It's so bad. And I knew, like, you know, like that's the whole point of like a Space Jam was a big marketing gimmick, and this is not far. This is a more insincere version of that for sure. And of course, the Michael B. Jordan joke sucks because I want Michael Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like it's so bizarre because in the first Space Jam, at the very least, like all the Looney Tunes, they have life and they have energy, and they also have kind of like they maintain their like unique dispositions that have been established to their classic characters. And you know, at least there's like a level of like successful levity because the characters are all very full of life, and and they also get a lot of focus for the first movie from what I remember. But this movie, it's like all the Looney Tunes are just fucking blank slates. Like, there's just so little life behind them. I'm pretty sure they have far less line time and screen time than the human characters.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. Like Bugs is all alone on his planet because there's like I guess a falling out or something with the other Looney Tunes, and they go and get those Looney Tunes from other worlds, and it's just like they just grab them and go. There's no real kind of weight there at all in terms of like their friendship, their connection, their this and that. I fucking want Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to fucking sneak around Michael Jordan's house to find, just to have like fun moments. Like
yeah,
exactly. Like they got nothing going. There's no like Looney Tunes is it's one of those things where it's like like that Scoob movie that came out last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah,
what a heinous piece of shit.
That was awful.
So that movie is so weird too because it's like it's an old IP that you're trying to modernize and it just doesn't work anymore. You can't like it's so you got to keep it in its own little bubble at this point. It can't be adapted anymore because there's a point where you can't adapt something that's just so old. I feel nowadays.
Yeah.
Or at least you've tried and it just hasn't worked. Like,
but I mean, at least I can't speak to Space Jam 2, but I think that there's far more wrong with the adaptation of Scoob than just them trying to remake the IP. Like, Scoob's the most buck-wild thing on the planet. Scooby-Doo's paw is a portal to the gates of hell.
listen, man. I'm in it. That's some creativity there. Yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, I think IP as old as Looney Tunes and Scooby-Doo and the Jeffersons and all that, or the Jetsons, are just they're just IPs that don't really have any life or purpose anymore, other than, oh, we know who Bugs Bunny is. We know who that is. Warner Brothers is in a really interesting place where they'll go out and make something as grotesque as this, but then allow like Matrix to really commentate on its own kind of like franchises. So
yeah, it's
anyway.
There was one moment that really gave me a little bit of hope in it. It was when they were in the cartoon worlds, and there was like the part where like Daffy Duck has like forced Porky Pig to hijack a train, so that Daffy Duck can then intervene and falsely make himself look like the hero. And I'm like, that's a classic bit. Like, that's such a funny, silly, simple bit that, especially with these characters like Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Porky Pig, I can see how that would, if you just made that whole bit into a one long animated movie, it wouldn't be amazing, but I'd probably smile and laugh and have a good time. But in the context of this movie, the only reason that scene is there is so they can fucking reference DC and Superman.
Yeah,
it's just abysmal.
It's so like not. It doesn't put its characters or its own property first. It puts the other more popular, recognizable property.
Oh, dude, the granny doing the Matrix stuff was the worst Matrix movie of the year by far. Like, just her scenes. I know you guys liked Resurrections a lot more than I do, but God, even these scenes in here were just so much.
That movie
I could have imagined.
fucked. Sorry.
Yeah.
Matrix Resurrections.
We'll see. We'll see how
Number
much
one.
it fucks.
Number one film.
Oh no.
That no joke. The Matrix Resurrections was almost in my top 10.
I thought it was gonna be
top 10.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm glad you.
I wanted to so badly.
We'll talk about it at some point. Like, regardless if it's in our top 10, we should talk about it. But
I agree.
Anyway.
We should. It's a very interesting film.
I think Matt, you're number 4.
Oh, my number 4 worst movie of the year is another Hulu original movie called Safer at Home. That's absolute dog shit. It's a movie that's entirely done through webcams. That's the premise of it is it's set in 2025 and they're on their like 5th lockdown from the COVID-19 pandemic.
I mean, let's not put that outside the realm of possibility.
What is this?
It's called Safer at Home.
God.
It's absolutely heinous.
A fucking COVID horror movie. Is that what this is?
They
Basically?
yeah, except
Oh my
there's just
God.
there's nothing like to it at all. They like all take like ecstasy that one of them has somehow inexplicably mailed to the rest of them. I don't like whatever. And then one of like one of them is too high and goes crazy and like pushes his wife and murders her, like hits
On
her.
accident?
Yeah, like knocks her over and her head hits the bottom stair. 30
Wow.
minutes of this 82-minute long movie is just on his phone while he's driving.
Oh my god.
It's so bad. Are either of you intending on watching this? Can I spoil the
No.
end of this movie?
Yeah.
No.
So they're like, "Oh God, what's gonna happen? Like, he's gonna die. Like, she's dead. We don't know what's gonna happen. Like, what's he gonna do?" And he's like driving around, but there's a quarantine in place where the police will basically shoot on sight if you're out at night. And basically he gets shot to death by the cops just in time for his girlfriend, who he pushed into the stairs, to wake up 'cause she's not dead.
Oh my god.
And then they're like, "Oh my God, he's dead." It's so fucking bad, and nothing happens in it. Is the thing is like, there's like no it's just a disaster. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even have anything to say about it. It's truly one of the worst things that I have maybe ever seen, and it's only my number 4 worst movie of the year. So
That's fucking rough.
we got some absolute bangers this year.
Oh boy.
DKR Patty asks, "Are there any good webcam movies?" Yes, Searching. Searching was a great movie.
I don't think Searching is good.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
I think I'm trying to think.
There's a movie
There
that came out. It's called The Host or something, or Host.
No,
It came out a
it's-
couple years ago.
Yeah, I think it might be
Or
just
earlier
called
this year.
Host.
Yeah,
And
Host.
there was a
just
sequel,
Host.
wasn't it?
Yeah, I haven't watched the sequel. That was last year, but that was
and-
good.
I've heard that Cam is good.
What's it called? Cam is very good, but I don't think Cam is strictly just. I don't remember it being just all in the web in a webcam.
Maybe
thing.
not.
What was it called? It's Unfriended. Unfriended's actually a banger.
Yeah, Unfriended is like, I would argue that Unfriended's like not good, but Unfriended's really fun.
Yeah.
That's my
You don't like the fucking bit with the
blender?
the blend? Well, the other one too. The iron, the hot iron thing.
Oh yeah.
That
It,
bit fucking rules.
Yeah, Unfriended kind of fucking rocks.
It fucking rules,
yeah,
dude.
that's the one I was trying to think of. Yep. That was
I don't know. I would
It's on a
argue
very
that
bleak note. I really like it.
yeah, and I would argue that any of my complaints with Searching aren't about the fact that it's on webcams. I just think that some of the
Leaps.
I think that some of the leaps in logic that the film takes were a bit too much for me to be like nice.
The detective stuff.
Yes,
The
Yeah.
detective stuff, and there's certain things about I would say that the whole ending of Searching really does not work for me.
I agree. I would say Searching is worth it if you go into it and try to invest in the journey and do your best to not expect a good outcome. 'Cause that ending was really baffling out of nowhere. Like, how the fuck could I have seen that coming? But yeah, I thought everything up to it was just the right amount of tension, but also some melodrama. You know, there was some schlock, some soapiness in there that I liked.
Well, and obviously John Cho fucks.
Yeah, he's so good,
and
dude.
we all love John Cho. He's our live action Spike. Everybody can calm down. It already happened, and he looks great.
Yeah. I have problems with that show's script, but not its casting. The casting for the three mains were great.
So I've watched about an episode and a half of it just because I had a really rough end of my year in terms of consuming content because I was creating content with no budget, which makes you kind of forces you to not I couldn't consume anything that I had not already seen.
Yeah.
So I managed to watch an episode and a half of the Cowboy Bebop show, and I intend to finish it. But yeah, I think the 3 leads are great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's all I got.
Okay, I guess that brings it to me. No, we're getting to the top 3, baby.
Oh boy.
Okay,
Bottom 3.
God damn it! I keep saying that. Oh, okay.
All
Here's
right,
one
so my number 3 best movie of the year. No.
Oh God, just accidentally give it away right now. Okay. My number 3 worst movie of the year is I'm gonna talk about America, the motion picture. Does anyone hear about this?
Oh boy.
I think I looked into it because of
My review.
Yeah, I definitely didn't watch it.
Fuck?
Okay, so this is an animated, raunchy, hard R comedy in the style of, like...
Is this the Venture Brothers people?
I have no idea who made it, but it definitely looks like that. A lot of the animation is really bad. Most of it is fine or acceptable, but a lot of it does not look... I actually think...
This is the Archer people.
Like, this part looked bad, but this part looks bad, but, like, then the shot before anyway. So it's a balls to the wall, like, totally ballistic, acid, gonzo, retelling of the American Revolution, which, like, are we really still in an era of jerking off over our founding fathers? Can we just fucking move on from this? Because, you know, it's just so difficult for me to, like... enjoy a movie about this that, you know, as so many pieces of fiction have, that raises these, frankly, you know, women beaters and slave owners up on a huge pedestal and just completely ignores all of the heinous things they did in that time. So it's just like, I don't understand. Like, why couldn't you have just taken this, you know, animation style, the comedy, the humor, the directors, and just a different subject matter? But, you know, the answer is because I guess fucking content about America sells. But it's just dumb. It's the humor is I wouldn't say most of the humor is offensive, but it's just completely like bottom of the barrel, really forced. It's all just references. And these are things that are happening. And wow, wasn't that so wacky? And did you know that George Washington wrote America the Beautiful on the electric guitar? That kind of shit. So, yeah, really annoying. I'm really fucking sick of filmmakers jerking off about the Founding Fathers because obvious reasons. So let's move on and stop worshiping these cunts, I guess. Also, the movie was bad, but that's just, you know, part of it. That's all. America the Motion Picture.
Ah, that looks terrible.
Yeah, this animation looks
some of the plot
awful.
too.
And I didn't even mention that so it is a retelling of the American Revolution, but they intentionally, you know, it's not actually. It's just a whole bunch of fantasy. It isn't even like they try to like take an actual event that happened and like turn it into a gag or a joke that parodies that event. No, they just completely make up new events that never happened, and they're like, this was the American Revolution. It's like, okay, thanks, fuckers. Yeah, that's my number 3.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly didn't think there was going to be any real events when the first 4 or 5 words of the description are a chainsaw wielding George Washington.
Yeah. You know, you got that eye-grabbing content.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
All right, number 3 for Justin.
All right, my number 3 features this bad boy.
Huh?
Ooh. You keep doing...
Oh,
Wait,
yeah.
Pull it back up. I missed it.
Back up.
I'm glad you saw this, because I didn't.
Yeah. That depression Muppet. God, yeah.
Dear Evan Hansen. So first of all, I think the the age thing didn't bug me as much. It's more about his casting that bothers me because
Yeah.
the biggest problem with the movie is that I feel like he is being a bit more mischievous than he is doing it out of like not realizing the repercussions of what he. So pretty much, Dear Evan Hansen's about this guy who is writing a letter to himself as a therapeutic way of dealing with some anxiety in his life. He knows this other student of his that sees him printing out his own letter that he wrote to himself, takes that letter, ends up killing himself. The parents think that this student named Connor,
Who died?
who died, got wrote a letter to Evan Hansen, and like the parents think that they were good friends. So like he's trying to like create like he's trying to create a not so he's trying to help heal the family ultimately by making up these stories about like the friendships that they had and what he really was doing behind the scenes. But as the movie goes on, his lie kind of blows up in this very over the top internet sensation kind of outburst that feels really insincere to people who are suffering through this kind of stuff. And there's a whole musical number with the student that committed suicide, and it's a little frustrating and creepy and disgusting to kind of watch that be kind of. I wouldn't say it's glorified, but it's definitely kind of handled very egregiously. I think.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just think that its overall execution is pretty poor.
Yeah, so there's so much I could say about this movie. So there was some YouTuber who brought up a really good point that stuck with me since they said it, that for some reason there are a lot of stories and subjects where if you put them on Broadway and make them big and loud and over exaggerate everything and you know just kind of make everything so larger than life that it kind of expels the ridiculousness and the absurdity of it sometimes. But then if you take that concept, even if you maintain it as a musical and put it in film, it just really reveals itself to be a fucking disaster of an idea. Like this movie, the main character of this story should have been Connor. That's the main like problem I would say that I have. I didn't see this, but I've listened to the musical. I'm extremely familiar with the story. I just feel like, and also I don't know if you know this, but I'm like 90% sure this was actually a true story, or that at least the
Is it?
Yeah, like there was a real. It was a real two pair of kids. One of them died, and there were circumstances that led to the other one to lie about their relationship with it. And I think it happened at the school that the writers of the play went to, or it was like a school that was in their local town. So on the one hand, I can see how their motivation was like, wow, this was just a really fucking crazy, traumatizing thing that happened in our community, and we want to, get that out there. And I can see how on the stage it would translate at least better than the movie, and it's so weird because when I listen, this whole concept, the whole idea, it's really offensive. It's really offensive. Just bar none. No argument. The fact that it's the story of the main character is this, he's not doing anything intentionally. He's not being malicious. He's just so incredibly awkward and socially inept that he can't help himself. And it's like at the same time, okay, it's fine that he is that way, and that's what led to these circumstances, but you also can't like have him be your protagonist and try to give him a redemption arc. Why is this story not about Connor and his family? Why is the protagonist the weird guy who manipulated them and ruined their lives? Why is he not a supporting character in another character's story, you know? Like, just the focus of who it was on was so offensive, but for some reason there are certain stories when you put them on Broadway, people can forgive it, and the theater community is more welcoming and forgiving in general, I would say, just all around, which obviously causes problems a lot of the time, and this is a big example of how it does.
That's where I think the casting's very important, because you look at Ben Platt and he just looks like he knows like that. It looks like he knows that he's being mischievous, as opposed to like if you had like
a kid,
I don't know, Tom Holland or someone.
Nice.
Someone that
Get him
looks
back in.
I'm just saying, like,
Nick's favorite actor, Tom Holland.
I would love to see Tom Holland try this, because this would be such. It would be interesting. Anyway,
because I think that's critical, is to have cast it to a point where it looks like it's some nerdy fucking small, tiny kid that doesn't know what they're doing. Because we've been 15.
Exactly.
We were 15 and we were making stupid, idiot, big, awful decisions, and I think that would have helped the story more if it was cast better, and it wasn't cast with the original guy who is nearing 30 and is tall, lanky, and feels like he is just plopped into that school, as opposed to feeling like he's part of that school. Because like what's her nuts
Caitlin Dever.
Caitlin Dever is like is still like,
she at least looks like a high schooler.
Yeah, I can buy her looking like a high schooler. You know, like you know, people make the arguments, you know, that Andrew Garfield doesn't look like a high schooler in the Amazing Spider-Man films. I feel like you could make the argument that he does look like a high schooler. At least I can buy him looking like a kid that's like trying. That is making shitty decisions, you know?
He certainly looks more like a high schooler than Ben Platt does.
Yeah, in comparison. In comparison. But
because
like,
the de-aging makeup they tried to put on Ben Platt makes him look 40. I know it didn't bother you, but it's alarming.
Maybe it's because I settled into it while watching it, but like...
I never found that I could. I kept waiting to settle into it, and then I'd think that I had settled into it, and then they would just film him from some specific angle, and I'd be like, Jesus Christ.
So have you guys heard about how the casting for this movie version was, how the actor Ben Platt, how he was like dominating the discussions about it, and apparently whenever anyone involved with the movie would try to like be like, hey, maybe we should, you know, get another actor who's younger. They didn't say that, obviously. Ben Platt would actually like speak up and be like, no, it needs to be me, because people associate this story with me, and they'll only come see it if the actor who's in the main role from the play sees the movie. And it's like, you motherfucking cunt, dude. The only people who are going to see this movie are people who liked the musical, not people who specifically liked you. It's like it just makes me think he's kind of an egotistical dick.
Yeah. He looked at this movie as a way to break into Hollywood, and I think
there you go. Well, wait, that's not true, because he was on that show, The Politician, and he's actually good on that show.
Well, then he can work through that. He doesn't need to break through with a musical that like worked for him and getting his like acting career kick boosted or whatever. But like he doesn't need to ruin the film by making himself the main character in this. He would service the film better if they had cast someone that would be more fitting for the parts at an actual age range for that, you know? Like, I just think it's just so grotesque at the end of the day. Anyway, that's fucking Dear Evan Hansen. The first musical number is pretty good.
Oh yeah, a lot of the music is really good just by itself as as songs. They're well written, powerful songs.
think
That's why people liked it.
I
They're
think
well
the
written.
first one stands out. I don't think any other one stands out as like they all sound pretty like samey to me.
He's
But
just
I'm
doing.
not- I'm-
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just pretty much saying like I think the first musical number stands out, but every other musical number is pretty samey to me. It doesn't like there isn't other than the one song where they're doing like they're typing up the emails with him and the dude, and it's
The most
uncomfortable.
offensive song.
It's very uncomfortable to watch the kid, the Connor kid, and I'm like,
I actually thought that kid who played Connor was interesting. He was
was good.
maybe.
or fast. It was interesting to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd define anything in that movie as good, but he was engaging. I was engaged. I was like, what's up with this fucking weird guy?
Anyway, Dear Evan Hansen, one of the best.
Oh my god. The guy who played that character on Broadway is the guy who plays the leader of the Jets in
I was
West
gonna
Side
mention
Story.
that. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Kind of a fun little parallel.
Should have brought him back, baby.
Honestly, he looks like a kid, so yeah.
Yeah.
The guy they got was fine too. So
Yeah, I don't know. There's no saving that fucking dirt pile.
yeah.
My number 3 worst movie of the year is Nicolas Cage's Willy's Wonderland.
What? I vehemently disagree on this one.
Let's
Whoa. Let's go, baby. Get
gave
in
this
that.
you gave this movie 3 stars, Nicholas.
Yeah. Yes, I did, cause it's fine. It's an average, silly rom.
Awful. It's
What?
so
It's
so
Matt,
bad.
Matt, dude, I am legitimately. When I finished that movie, I for real thought to myself, I bet Matt would like this movie.
I gave
Not
this movie-
Justin, Matt.
I gave this movie 1 star. Justin was nicer to this movie than I was.
I
Oh my
was.
god. I
This
can't
movie's bad,
believe
Nick. I don't know
this.
what to tell you.
I won't argue that it's good. I'll give you that.
I will say that I think Cage is kind of engaging in it, and it's kind of fun to just watch him. I
Yeah.
don't think he necessarily pulls it off, but it's fun watching him just try to do this fully silent performance. But it's
very
just-
odd.
I think, Nick, I would maybe be in your camp if this movie had like $10 million more of a production budget and they could make the horror aspect or the animatronics or anything inside of the actual building work.
Okay.
But I don't think that they do.
I reviewed it on behalf of the budget that I acknowledge was probably next to nothing. So I don't.
Right, but if you can't make a movie with, like, if you can't make your movie with that,
Yeah.
like, if you can't make your movie functional with the budget that you have, I'm not gonna like cut you they made a bad movie. It's a really bad movie.
I think a
don't
lot of like the
know.
creativity in it is held back because of the budget. Like it could
Yeah.
have, and that's what hurts it. I think it hurts it quite a bit because it's like it's held back by like the lack of resources of the budget that they had.
Like
And-
I certainly understand what it was going for. I understand why you enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
just like, and I legitimately think that it was an interesting enough premise that if they had had the money to make the animatronics work, if they had the money to make the like the building that they were in actually feel like it used to be a Chuck E. Cheese and it wasn't just like an empty fucking set that they
Yeah.
threw some tables into, like, I would maybe have a different opinion of this movie. I certainly think the best it could ever do is land about where you put it at 3 stars. It's
Yeah.
just kind of something that's
I'm gonna
amusing.
go look. So I watched 76 movies, and Willy's Wonderland is 44 for me. Like
Right in the
really,
middle.
really far from the bottom, but certainly not anywhere near. That's God. This is fascinating to me. How occasionally I just cannot predict what you guys are gonna do. It's awesome though. It's very surprising.
Yeah, that movie.
So I'm glad you watched a movie you hated.
I mean, look, it is what it is. I understand what they were going for. I don't think it worked, but
Okay.
here
You
we
live
are.
in this era of Rage Cage too. You want a little bit more than him just kind of like juicing up on some Coke, Coca-Cola, and
I
doing an
disagree.
arcade machine where he's doing
I
little.
disagree. I love
Look,
Nick. I
Nicolas
love Nick
Cage
Cage
had
too
a
much.
Nicolas Cage had a big year this year.
Yeah,
He did.
Yeah,
He did.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for this.
agree.
Nicolas Cage was in the actors roundtable this year, which
I
if
know
you
it was
guys
so good.
haven't watched it, he's
have.
so buck wild. I was like,
Yeah.
He's in the actors round table.
he's in the
Yeah, 'cause
actors
he's an
roundtable.
amazing actor.
The actors roundtable is
That's good for him.
absolutely wild this year. It's
Okay, yeah, it is. It was really good. I loved it.
yeah, it was really good. It was
Oh, I can't wait to watch with Andrew Garfield. Oh, that's gonna be
Yeah.
yeah,
sick
so
to
it's
watch.
Nicolas
Jonathan
Cage.
Majors. Holy fuck.
Yeah, Nicolas
Yeah.
Cage, Jonathan Majors, Andrew Garfield, Simon Rex, and for some reason Peter Dinklage for a movie that's not coming out until like fucking Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
And
Well,
Jonathan,
he's a great actor, so it's fine.
he's a great actor. It was really funny though, where he almost seemed like embarrassed to be there. He
Yeah,
was like, "I don't
that's
want to
okay.
fucking be here." And Nicolas Cage was just like, "Werner Herzog once looked at me and went, 'Nicholas, unleash the pig. You have seen evil.'" It's buck wild, Justin.
I can't wait to watch this.
That's a
I didn't
direct.
know he did that. He's
That's a
out here.
direct quote from Nicolas Cage.
I'm so excited. That's awesome. All right, where are we at?
Hit it, Nick.
I'm not gonna put Willy's Wonderland on your list.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Wow.
This better be. This is like you say number 44, but this sounds like a number 5 film for you, Nick.
Yeah.
You know what it is I have come to a point in my life and I just have to be honest. I am so incredibly biased in favor of Nicolas Cage these days. I love him as a person. The more interviews I watch of him and the more like analyses I watch of his movies, the more he is a deeply, profoundly passionate actor. Like he does his work and he does his research, and I agree that like Willy's Wonderland is by no means an example of that. I just loved it because I
This
loved
isn't-
being able to see him have a chance to relax and do a movie with no dialogue because he deserves it. But again, I give it a very mild 3. So I'm not, I won't
Like,
really disagree with your review
out of-
by any means.
Out of my faults with that movie, Nicolas Cage is at the bottom of that list.
Okay, well,
Nicolas
then that's
Cage is
all
not what's wrong
That's
with
really
that
all I
movie.
care about then. That's fine.
Like, I don't think that the movie in the state that it was in gave him enough to play with,
That's fair.
but it's not. My fault is certainly not of Nicolas Cage, and this year has certainly reminded me how powerful of an actor Nicolas Cage can be. And he is absolutely always someone who comes in and does his homework. It's just that sometimes his homework leads him in a direction where normal people would not be led.
Yeah, I feel all that. I won't disagree. Cool. Okay, we're down to number 2. Not Wolfgang Collins has returned. He's angry that you put Mortal Kombat number 7, and Mortal Kombat was, by the way, Wolfgang was in my top 10 worst for a while, but it ended up not fitting in.
yeah,
So it sucks, bro. I'm sorry, man. Like for me, I will defend the fights. I like the fights. I think they're mostly pretty great. However, I think all of them were way too short for the most part, and the rest of the movie was just people sitting down and talking, and the dialogue was so bland and average that it's like we came here for fights and it's like 10% fights. Like what is that?
Yeah, I did the math. And Mortal Kombat is my 12th worst movie of the year.
Nice.
Edged out of my bottom 10.
Let me see where it is for me. Oh yeah, so I had 76 entries. Mortal Kombat's number 59 for me, so pretty close to top bottom 10. Okay, my number 2. Oh yes, we're getting into the big ones, baby.
Oh dear.
Both of my top 2 worst movies of the year for me. So in terms of grading terribleness of movies, for me, the bigger the budget, the more harsh I am with bad movies, because especially in terms of like, I'll just leave it at that. My number 2 is Infinite, the new Mark Wahlberg superhero movie. That's I'm so glad you don't know about this.
I know what this is.
So you can watch this fucking bullshit.
Who is it? Is it him and Anthony Mackie?
I don't know. I'll just look at this trailer. I can't remember if Anthony Mackie's in it. So Infinite is literally just a fucking hardcore cash grab ripoff of the entire Marvel MCU, but like an original property, but really, really dumb, really, really, really basic. The most like basic premise in the world. You know, it's like ancient. You're something like you're related to ancient superheroes who can live forever, and you have to defend the world. And Mark Wahlberg literally walks around doing exactly what you think he's gonna do. Just the fucking like placid, dead behind the eyes. What are you talking about? What is this shit? What's going on? He's just constantly asking expositional questions, and the action is terrible. It's so dull. There's just no thought or creativity put into this whatsoever. And I have to put this closer to the top of my list as opposed to the bottom, because, you know, I can talk about how, like, you know, compared to the lower budget movies that may be on all of our lists, like, you know, you could say this one looks better, or technically the supporting cast is better because they have higher paid actors who actually have gone to acting school. But when like I have to think of it as like a fucking what's the word, god damn it, a proportion of like, I mean, the more money you have, in theory, the more access you should have to better equipment, better creativity, just all around more. It gives you more access to everything. So I have to grade things worse in terms of how much money they're just fucking burning away for something that is so creatively lifeless and pointless and manipulative and dishonest with everything it's doing. And of course they try to set it up for more sequels, all that fucking garbage. It's just awful. It's just so unbearable. And the fact that it was like had all this big, I mean, I guess it didn't have a ton of marketing, but the fact that it was able to afford all this marketing over, you know, like, for example, any of the other movies on my list that I rank anywhere from, like, say, number 45 to 25 that really deserve to, like, that much more deserve to have the recognition and the eyeballs and the attention of these huge cash grab monster Netflix studio movies that are just swallowing the attention of audiences who have no way to access these, you know, mid-tier but still worthy movies that could potentially inflate the careers of actual creative people who really deserve it. So that's kind of my big reason I have to put these big blockbusters that do so terribly as my worst movies of the year, because they have the most access and the most potential, and they squander it the most. It's just so much waste and so much blind ignorance. I hate it. I fucking hate it.
Can't wait to see where Ambulance and Moonfall falls for you next year.
Oh, Moonfall's gonna fuck.
I'm gonna love Moonfall, baby. I think it's gonna be sick.
Y'all see that Bad Moon Rising trailer?
Which one is that again?
They released a new trailer for Moonfall last week where they did a very action-packed rendition of CCR's Bad Moon Rising.
I actually did like that trailer.
Look, here's the deal: is that movie's gonna be phenomenal.
Moonfall.
Let's go, baby.
We gotta see it in theaters. It's you gotta see that one in theaters.
Yeah, I will.
Just to see the moon fall or whatever.
I will catch COVID for the Super Mario Brothers movie and Moonfall.
I agree. Let's do it.
I would not, however, catch COVID to go see Nightmare Alley. So here we are.
Oh, yeah, that looks fine.
My number 2
Mhm.
is
What?
Oh, it's a Chaos Walking. Oh no, it's Cherry, isn't it?
Cherry, baby.
Yeah, I started that one. I think I got
Dude.
20 minutes in, and I could not handle how boring it
Cherry
was.
is fucking atrocious, and only goes to show that the Russo brothers work only under the umbrella of Kevin Feige
Yep.
or Feige. It's about it's basically a rip-off, knockoff Martin Scorsese crime film or heist film with Tom Holland as its lead, and I think he's terribly miscast, especially by the end of the movie when he's got the little mustache thing and everything. It's like, yo, he's worn and he's fucking, gone through, like, it's such a knockoff of Goodfellas, and it's so fucking bad. It's so fucking abysmal. What did I say about this movie? I fucking hate this movie. Like it tries to, like it tried to take elements from like Full Metal Jacket as well. So it's like it's trying to like knock off like Kubrick's work and Scorsese's work in one film, and like both Tom Holland and like his love interest, his co-star Ciara Bravo, they both look so fucking young and so much like kids that I don't buy them being in their mid-20s, and by the end of it being parents. I do not buy it at all. It's super. It's just so fucking generic and kind of shocking to see like such a A-list actor go and do something as lame brain and boring as this. And yeah, it's fucking terrible. It's really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
And I do not think the Russo brothers have the ability to make a good film unless it's corporately made by Marvel.
What did you probably already mentioned it, but I was listening and zoning out to the trailer. What do you think of Tom Holland's performance? I mean, I get the general idea, but where do you see him as an actor in general? Because like I said, I think he's good as Spider-Man, but just everything else outside of it has really been quite bad. So
he could get there. I think.
I don't know, man.
He could.
Uncharted, baby.
I feel I have a little bit more hope for him than I do for like Daisy Ridley.
Yeah.
I think he could find his rhythm because he's been good in like what's it called? Lost City of Z.
Okay.
For the ending bits that he was in, or like what was that movie that came out like years and years ago?
Oh,
Before Spider-Man.
The one, the like typhoon one.
Yeah, that one. Like he was good in that.
Impossible or something?
Impossible.
It's
Yeah, like
Impossible.
like he's even like in what's it called? Locke as Tom Hardy's son in
the
in
phone.
in the phone call scene. Like in one of the phone call scenes. Like I think he's capable of being a good actor. It's just dependent on like what I think right now he's kind of I mean, he tried with what was it, the devil, what's it
Oh,
called?
the devil all the time.
Yeah, devil all the time. Like he's trying like to see kind of where he fits, and I think he's exploring options, and this is a good time for him to explore. They may not all be landing right now, but at least he's like, he's gone out of his way to like do something totally different than Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas I feel like Daisy Ridley is still like kind of playing Ray, but like
Well, she tried to do Murder on the Orient Express, which I didn't see, but I don't know
still
how
the
that
same
was.
performance to me. It doesn't
Okay.
really bring
Okay.
anything different. And I would say the same with Athalia that she was in.
Okay.
She was still not that good.
Yeah.
She's got a bit more work to do than I think Tom Holland. Tom Holland right now, I would say, has no shot, but I'd say let's see where he is in like after Spider-Man. Like I think after
Well,
Spider-Man,
he's got 3 more, right?
Yeah, I'd say in his mid-30s, he's
And
probably gonna.
Didn't he sign that contract like this year or last year? or within
I
the
don't
last year
But
or
you know
two?
how these movies are. They'll punch him out and then start getting. What they're gonna be doing, honestly, is like they're gonna be his next 3 movies are gonna be his Spider-Man, but then they're gonna be setting up Miles Morales. So
Yeah,
like,
that'd be cool.
I honestly think they're like, and I know Tom Holland is like not wanting to do Spider-Man forever, at least based on like what I've read with his articles. But
Yeah,
Well-
he's been saying that.
But yeah,
Yeah.
at this point,
I mean, were we
3 more
concerned
movies
about
is
Robert Downey
basically
Jr.?
forever.
You know, Robert Downey Jr. has been saying forever, I don't want to do Iron Man. I don't want to do Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like after, you know, and then he did like 5 other Iron Man or 5 more Iron Man involved films. So,
yeah.
like, I'm not really worried about these Marvel actors. Some of them want to, like, you know, Chris Hemsworth wants to do Thor forever. Cool, I'm down for Chris Hemsworth to do Thor forever. He works in that. Chris Hemsworth is an actor where I'm like, you just keep doing Thor, dude, and you'll be good. Don't do anything else. Maybe comedy once in a while, but don't do anything else other than Thor. Mark Ruffalo, I'm like, you should probably go do some like other acting gigs. You should stop being the Hulk at some points.
Yeah.
Or yeah, even Chris Evans, or you know,
or being like, oh, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, like, or Chris Evans, where it's like, you know, you did a good run as Captain America. Go and direct as you've wanted, or do some dramas. You know, like, I don't think Tom Holland. I'm not really concerned about Tom Holland's career. He's gonna be okay. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. I feel it 100%. Matt, number 2.
My number 2 worst movie of the year is a Netflix movie.
Okay.
A Netflix animated children's movie.
What the fuck?
Sequel. I didn't know it was a sequel
Oh god.
until I got about halfway through.
Oh good.
Called Bigfoot Family.
The fuck,
That's a
dude?
sequel.
Yeah.
Matt, what the fuck is this shit? Are you fucking? What the fuck was this? What is this?
It looks
Bigfoot Family.
so
Oh my
awful. It took
God.
me maybe 6 sittings to finish it.
Oh no.
I will say I also didn't know until about 80% of the way through it that it's a Belgian movie that Netflix had redubbed it.
Oh. Okay.
Oh wow.
It's
Okay.
I don't even know. I don't know. I feel like the 2 of your reactions summed up anything that I can say about this movie.
Oh my god.
The boy is Bigfoot's son and he can talk to me.
Oh, I can just imagine 30 different ways how this would be the worst movie of the year.
Oh my god, I'm looking at it.
Like the animation is actually not bad. It's not great, but it could
It's
be
bad.
worse. I don't know. I would say it could be worse, but I haven't watched the movie.
Oh, it's all about Bigfoot and his family stopping an oil company from destroying
okay.
a
Well, hey.
Montana.
Well, that's at least 3 stars for the moral, progressive outlook at least.
Well, and then
Come
take a star away for the obvious Disney animation knockoff. Like, holy fuck, look at those eyes. And just the animation style's just like straight pulled out from like fucking Frozen or Tangled.
Yeah, except it's like not done well, and they didn't know what to make cartoonish and what to make real life. So the main character looks like a horrifying living doll.
Man, he looks weird. He looks like that. Remember those troll dolls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like that.
So yeah,
I
this
think
is.
the animation looks wonderful.
So
I'm
this
gonna
is
watch
my.
this.
I will reiterate. This is
Watch
my.
the first film first.
I disagree. I will reiterate. This is my second worst movie of the year.
Of course. So there's one worse. All right.
So I'm keeping the big gun in for later.
Okay.
Oh, the big gun is here,
Well,
baby.
Yeah, my biggest gun is coming out right now, and it follows the exact same rule as Infinite. It had a lot of marketing, a huge budget,
Oh
Is
my
it
God.
Red Notice?
Is this Red
A-list
Notice?
stars,
Is this Red
Thunder
Notice?
Force.
Wait, what?
What?
Thunder Force.
What the fuck is Thunder
Oh,
Force?
Thunder Force is this Netflix comedy superhero movie with Melissa McCarthy and Octavia
Oh,
Spencer.
I remember. I'm glad that we went with Red Notice. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Red Notice is terrible for sure, but Red Notice for me is a type of bad where I can at least turn my brain off and enjoy at least like half of what's in it, enough to get by. This was unbearable. I mean, we're talking like none of the jokes land, 0% of the jokes. I think it's 2.5 hours long.
no shot.
Actually, let me look right now.
I don't know, Nick. I'm
me
looking
look.
at this picture of Melissa McCarthy's holding a big pickle.
Well, you guys
She's
should
got
definitely
flair
watch it.
on her superhero costume.
It's probably
One
not
of them
2.5
says
hours.
slippery
oh,
when
I
wet.
was completely wrong. It's an hour and 47 minutes, but I somehow,
feels like that.
who knows why, I thought it was 2.5 hours. It genuinely feels like it's 2.5 hours long. It's exactly what you expect. It's all just the worst, lowest common denominator of slapstick humor, like anti-slapstick humor. There's no thought put into anything. It's also, directed by Melissa McCarthy's husband, so this is like their 4th or 5th time, I think, that they've done this together, where they've produced just abysmally awful, high-budget comedy with no jokes. This actually contains okay. So when you guys think of of overly cliche, dead horse, beaten to death cliches in comedies, maybe like cartoons, one of the bits you might think of is when there's a character who sees another character for the first time, and they have love at first sight, and the lights go down and a spotlight comes down on the character, and then the two characters dance together, and one of them has a rose in their mouth. Have you ever seen that cliche? Because that cliche happens in this movie to a T, the way I just described it. And that scene in particular was the moment where I think I decided this was my worst movie of the year. And by the way, I saw this in April, and nothing has come close to beating this as my worst. So these are the two characters. It's Jason Bateman is unfortunately in this as a principal character, and he sucks. He's just doing what he normally does, his extremely low energy, low output, which for a lot of things can work really well, but in this case, it's just he's not trying at all. No one's trying. His character he's a villain, and he has lobster claws for hands, and she thinks he's sexy, and she wants to put butter on him, and she wants, she makes metaphors about eating him being sexy, and that turns them on. So that's the kind of stuff you get in this movie. Just the biggest waste of money of the year by far.
Riveting.
It is
Hey,
Thunder
Nick.
Force, baby. Yeah.
What's up with Melissa McCarthy and that big pickle, though?
Do
Best
you know
movie
what?
of the year?
Do you know what a wiener is, Matt?
Yeah,
Do you know? Okay.
I'm just
Justin.
trying to make you rethink your Thunder Force stigma.
I
Thunder.
mean, I could argue for Infinite as number one. Maybe it's fine. Well, maybe you'll give this number 2. Justin, what's your number 1, baby?
My number 1 stars this guy.
Wait, let me guess. Wait, what was? Oh,
Is this
it was
Death
your
to
locked,
2021?
Locked down.
Oh, that's
My
right.
worst film of 2021 is Lockdown, starring Anne Hathaway and Chai
dude.
Wetel Ejiofor. This movie is fucking atrocious. I saw this on January 18th, 2021, and has remained my number 1. This is fucking terrible. It's, rich, pretentious, full of themselves, egocentric maniacs living in a house together, wanting to, I guess, rob someplace for money. But it takes like a fucking hour and a half to get to the robbery. But like the first hour is Chiwetel Ejiofor going on a nervous breakdown. There's literally a scene of him reading poetry out in the middle of the streets, really loud, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck movie are you?
There's many of them. He
Yeah.
does it like 3 times.
Yeah, and it's fucking cringy and awful and terrible. And he is both overly qualified to be in this movie and the worst part. I don't know what made him think like, oh yeah, I can do comedy. He's terrible at comedy. He's fucking terrible at comedy. Anne Hathaway is no better in this. Ben Stiller has a cameo in it, and he's probably the best part. It's just so fucking boring. It's all the COVID tropes. It's all the COVID jokes. It's everything. It's just so blatantly obvious that it's taking everything that we went through in 2020 and making a movie so memed about already that it missed the train, and then just it's just so fucking bad. It dates itself immediately. It's snobby, it's uninspired, it's a fucking disaster. I hated this movie. It took me 3 watches to get through. I fucking hated this.
Ooh.
I fucking hate how fucking selfish and self-important these people are in the movie. I fucking hated it. So
Yeah.
that's Lockdown.
Get
And,
'em.
and this kind of, I didn't watch this, but I distinctly remember the ads for it, and I remember thinking, ooh, I bet that would be a contender for worst movie of the year, and I should have watched it. But would you say that a movie like this, does this kind of make you lose a bit of respect for the principal actors who were involved in it? Because I would think that to do something this tone deaf during a pandemic, so let's phrase it another way, to have the luxury and privilege to act in a movie with A-list stars and have the subject matter kind of be mocking what's going on in present day, that would just, I feel like I wouldn't be able to watch those actors again for a while.
I don't know if the
I put it
intention.
more on the writer and director, and I
Yeah.
think I would a gig is a gig is a gig is a gig is a gig. For an actor.
But all of these people are multimillionaires. So in this case, I would say that's bullshit. They don't need the money.
I don't think I would not classify him as a multi-millionaire. He's a working actor.
And I don't think I think Anne Hathaway is like, like she's what residuals is she's getting? Like Princess Diaries still? Like they're both working actors, and they're like
Batman, Catwoman,
and I think
one movie.
One
movie's gonna like make you good for the rest of your life.
I don't buy it. I think they have fucking wealth for years.
I would argue that I don't know if the movie was intentionally like mean-spirited as much as it feels like it's just like a really severe misstep. And I think that like it's people, I mean, they must have shot this thing the second that you could shoot a movie again.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's also very clear by what the movie is. It's like 2 people in a room and Zoom calls for 80% of it.
Yeah.
It's just like, I think everybody wanted to be the first person to have, and this was, I think, like the first COVID movie that released.
Right.
And I think everybody wanted to be ahead of the curve, and I think everybody wanted to get back to work. I certainly wouldn't fault these actors. I would certainly fault the screenwriter and the director. But
yeah. And they're both, and it's a screen, it's Doug Liman, I believe, who's done good movies. Let me just make sure.
I think everybody just wanted to get out on top of this thing.
That's okay. Yeah, I'd buy that. I'd buy that for sure.
Yeah, Lockdown. Okay. It was a bet, I think. Oh yeah. What was it? There was like some bet that he couldn't write like a screenplay in COVID or something. I can't remember the exact details, but like it's this Lockdown that's just so fucking just, I don't know, not mean-spirited, but mean-spirited and just grotesque. I don't know. It's just really
Oh, that kind of
poorly
fucks.
timed film.
Sorry, that kind of fucks that the Edge of Tomorrow sequel's called Live, Die, Repeat, and Repeat.
Oh, there you go. I don't know. Yeah, that movie sucked.
Yeah, it's a bad
He's
movie.
doing a remake of Roadhouse. I'll see that.
Yeah.
Oh,
All
we did
right.
Chaos Walking after this, or released after.
Oh yeah.
He did
Oh,
American Made
wow.
before that. This guy's all over the place.
Yeah.
Alright, that's my
All
number
right.
one.
I just
very
wanted to
nice.
share beforehand. Thunder
Oh
Force
my
rules.
god.
Fuck off.
Um,
Banned.
Oh my god. My number one worst movie of the year. I don't know if you gentlemen remember, but for 2 years now, I've been watching these awful Hulu movies that are part of this
Oh
anthology movie
no.
series
Oh
called
my
Into the Dark.
God.
Yeah.
And they released possibly their final entry.
Okay.
And it is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Sweet.
It's called Tentacles. The
Okay.
horror doesn't work. The thing that makes some of these movies appealing is the kind of when the filmmakers have fun with it. This is like the most self-serious piece of shit. Everybody's bad in it. It's trying to be this like psychosexual thriller to the extent where literally the last word said in the entire movie is just one guy, and it's not part of a sentence. A guy just looks at another guy and goes, "Fucking," and then the credits roll.
Okay.
Great.
Uh,
It's like taking the moment from Eyes Wide Shut at the end.
yeah,
but like doing it in a very
exactly.
lame way.
Yeah, I think I've watched a
Um,
couple of the Hulu original. I'm not Into the Dark, but they've done a few of these horror anthology things, and they were just. It was like all like bottle episode style, like one location. It's just so boring and repetitive, and yeah, this
Yeah.
just looks so fucking tiring.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably accurate. Yeah, it was miserable. I didn't have a good time. I think
Very
it
good.
might. I think it might be my. I don't know how to check, but I think it might be my most liked review of the year.
Oh, good. Nice.
Really?
Good work.
Yeah. It's this and this documentary that I watched 2 years ago about mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
Called
You didn't like-
Fantastic
Oh,
Fungi.
Fantastic Fungi.
No,
I
I
didn't like it. I'm sorry. My brain went to you didn't like it, but it's one of your most liked reviews.
It's just people always come out. I get a notification every like month on those two movies that people have like watched them or like liked my review, like dug it out of somewhere.
I'd get that with what's it called? It Follows. Like sometimes I'll get like a like on It Follows from like 7 years ago. Or
Yeah.
Okay.
no, 8 years ago now. Fuck.
Let's take like 5 or 10 minutes. I gotta piss and stuff and maybe get a drink.
Yeah, I
Chat?
need water.
I need a snack.
I know. So chat, you guys have been like name dropping movies while we've been doing this. If you guys want to just like, list any movies that you'd like to hear us give our thoughts on real quick while we're on a break, you can do that now, and we'll maybe give a few thoughts on some of them. If you name anything that's in our top 10, we will not talk about that yet, because obviously we'll get to that. But yeah, if you guys name anything that is not in our top 10s in the chat, we'll give you our quick reviews. But yeah, anyway, let's take a break. I'm going to go to the bathroom.